the town of Fishkill. Let's say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Okay. Councilmember Daniele.
Present.
Councilmember Istvan.
Present.
Supervisor Albra.
Here.
Councilmember Foreman.
Here.
Councilmember Rye.
Here. Okay, next up is the adoption of the agenda. I'd just like to add a couple things for special consideration.
Supervisor, can I add something first?
Let me finish this first.
Okay.
I want to add to set the public hearing for the budget, for the benefit units, and to do RFPs for the building installation and foundation for the new highway building. I present that as a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Carmine, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilwoman?
I'd like to make a motion to add the motion to appeal the decision and order of the September 20th, 2022 in the matter of GLD 3 versus Albra, Dutchess, Supreme Court, index number 2021-50197 to the agenda.
So you want to present that as a motion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Take the roll again.
Yep, it's just basically doing the again.
Okay. Councilmember Daniele.
Aye.
Councilmember Istvan.
Yes.
Supervisor Albra.
Abstaining?
I thought you could vote.
You should abstain to all votes.
Mr. Gaba?
I believe in this matter, the supervisor, although taking the position that he was not under a conflict of interest, nevertheless, to avoid any appearance of impropriety, recused himself from the matter. Since this is a carryover of that matter, I think it's appropriate that he continue that position, but of course, that's up to him.
So I'm not asking him to vote, I'm just asking him to add it to the agenda.
Yeah, but he's in the process of voting now. He abstained.
Continue.
We have 2 more votes.
Councilmember Foreman.
Yes.
Councilmember Rye.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion passes. It's on the agenda. So we'll put that on for, we'll put that number, we'll amend that to be the first discussion item. All right, next up is the acceptance of minutes for the town board regular meeting September 7th and September 21st. I'll present a motion to accept that.
Second.
Second, Brian Rye. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next up is the public hearing for the unsafe property at 1574-1576 NY52, Fishkill, New York. That's the Cube Smart property that I keep getting phone calls and emails about. And we're here to have to open up a public hearing. So I'll present the motion to open up the public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody wish to speak about that unsafe property on Route 52 and 82, which everybody's complaining about? Okay. Any board members got anything to say? Go on.
I do. Supervisor and I took a drive to the site. We looked at maybe remedies to clean it up. We have some recommendations to the owner. I did see, when I drove by today, that there has been some cleaning done. Partial, but there looks like they've started cleaning up the property.
Thank you. Louise?
I can't even count how many years this has been, and I think it's time that they actually do more than just start, they actually clean it up, because it's horrendous, and it's embarrassing, and it should be taken care of as soon as possible.
John? Nope. Brian? Hearing anything, hearing no other, I'll present the motion to close the public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, I've got I want to get the lady doing our comprehensive plan. She wants a few minutes.
Yeah.
So get Ms. Axelson, who's doing our comprehensive plan, to give us an update. We're finally hitting a stretch run to get this thing done.
Thank you, Supervisor and council members. My name is Liz Axelson. I'm a consulting planner to the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee for the town of Fishkill. And I've had the really great fortune to work with an awesome group of community members. Lots of ideas have gone into a draft plan. The plan continues to evolve. We've sought input through a survey months ago, and now we are holding this Saturday kind of a drop-in open house type session. It's going to be in the meeting room downstairs, where I understand most of the time that's where people vote. So it is this Saturday, October 8th, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 1 p.m. And it's drop-in. We have light refreshments. We have maps to look at. We're going to have some boards to look at, so you can see excerpts of the plan and excerpts of the survey responses, and even a Mad Lib. And we'll have a comment box if you just want to make a comment, fold it up and put it in the box. Anyway, it should be an interesting session, and the community is invited to come meet the committee members and learn a little bit more about this process. So this Saturday, October 8th, beginning at 10 a.m., ending at 1 p.m., and it's a drop-in. So please make sure to show up. I'm going to leave flyers out in the lobby, in the pamphlet rack. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is our first presentation. It's going to be a big treat for the residents of Fishkill here and watching. We got the Wappingers Central School District Robotics Club, and the floor is yours, guys. First, let's introduce the great Dr. Blanc.
Can I just add a comment? Dr. Bonk and Dr. Jordan are here. I actually went to see them both at different times, and once I saw these guys doing this in Wappingers Falls Park with all the art from all the students, I said, oh my gosh, they have to come. This is, I think, going to be a great treat, understanding what's going on, positive thing for the citizens to look at, and I can't wait to hear, therefore, Dr. Jordan talking about the new program out at the community college in Fishkill. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely, Councilman Rye, Supervisor Albra,
Excuse
members
me,
of the.
You're what?
Yeah, I did,
Yeah.
yes. I'm sorry.
I'm set for the.
Oh, you are? So you need some time?
No, he's set for the historian.
For their laptop.
Okay, so it'd be Wappingers School District, the Dutchess Community College, and then the town historian.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Would you like me to sit down?
We got a technical glitch.
I mean, I've been told to sit down before.
Placeholders for technical interruptions?
That's fine.
I took it off of that because.
I won't take it personally.
Well, tell us about what's going on in the school district before we got you here.
Well, I'd say we're off to a great start. I can't believe that is the second month of the school year, and I want to thank our community, all of our parents. We had an absolutely phenomenal turnout at our open houses and back-to-school nights, which have concluded. If you didn't have an opportunity to attend the John J. Royce Ketchum football game last Friday evening, you missed a tremendous evening. We had a few thousand individuals, very, very well-behaved crowd, excellent football game, food trucks, great school spirit for both John Jay and Royce Ketchum High School. And we look forward to continuing to build that school spirit, and that's something that we want to do as a district. And one of the reasons why I'm happy to present this evening, this is an opportunity that we have to present one of the positive things in which we're doing within the Wappingers Central School District. And as I mentioned earlier, I'd like to thank the Fishkill Town Board for the invitation to present this evening regarding an innovative and cutting-edge program that is in its fourth year at John Jay High School. Some of you may ask, why not Royce Ketchum High School? We had something called COVID that occurred, and we will be looking, correct Director Panzer, to integrate a similar program in Royce Ketchum High School beginning next September.
That's my goal.
That's your goal. That's my goal as well. So, as we know, 15 schools, one school district. So in addition to offering technology courses, students can earn college credits and learn about 21st century topics such as coding and robotics. The district has our competitive robots program, as you see here, where students build robots on their old time, consult with industry professionals and college-level professors on their designs, and work on other related STEM activities to learn their skills. The robotics team is known to many as the J-Bots. Pretty catchy name. I think some of them have it on the back of their jackets. J-Bots, with a very, very nice blue jay. Needless to say, they, as well as the school district and the school, takes a lot of pride in what they do. And I know as a team, you take a lot of pride in what you do. So John Jay's Varsity's First Tech Challenge team is team 1,607, and the J-Bots are highly decorated as they have gone to the regional competition over the past 2 years. They've also earned the first place Inspire Award in both sessions as well, which is a prestigious award given to the most well-rounded team at a competition that excels in every category measured by the judges. So with that, I am pleased to introduce Coach Amadeo and Coach Wells, the coaches of this impressive program that we are very, very proud of, and we're sure that you will be as well. So with that, coaches, please begin your presentation. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bonk, and thank you very much for having us here. This is a really profound group of individuals who share different skill sets and work very hard together to inspire others as well in the larger community. My name is Lindsay Wells, and I have had the privilege to be a part of this team. I'm not going to say I offered a lot of coaching. I mostly just watch everything that they have to offer, which is very amazing. And I would like to introduce Coach Amadeo.
Hello, and thanks for inviting us to come and present today. I just want to say I've coached a bunch of first teams before. I've coached in 5 different schools in 4 different districts, and what you're about to see is the best team that I've ever worked with before.
We would expect that, Coach.
Well, sure. I mean, I'm a seasoned coach, but it's really the fact that we have some fantastic students, and I think you're going to see everything that they bring to the table. So I'm gonna introduce them briefly. Anish, Arnav, Jason, Kate, Hero, and Nash, the J-Bots.
Thank you, everyone. As mentioned before, we are the John Jay Robotics team, also known as the J-Bots. We're a robotics team based out of John Jay High School. We consist of 2 teams, the varsity team known as the J-Bots, as well as the junior varsity team known as Phoenix Robotics. We are a club consisting of over 40 members, and we compete in a competition known as the First Tech Challenge. We build, code, and design our own robots, which you will see a demonstration of shortly soon. We also give back to the community through workshops, mentorships, camps, and various demonstrations that we hold throughout the school year.
So how it works is that every year there's a game. So for last year, our game was to put the blocks, which you see on the field, onto the red shipping hub over there. So every year, we have to make our bots. We have to design our bots around the challenge that we have every year. And we compete in competitions against other teams. And if you see over there, there are pictures of both our teams at the Peekskill competition from last year. And so this is how our competitions work. It's basically 2 robots on each team, and there are 2 teams, and the team with the most points wins. And we have actually come first twice, so 1 for each team last year.
So I'll be talking about CAD. CAD is computer-aided design, and for our team, we use the Unsafe software for CAD. CAD is essentially building online, and what this does is it allows us to design basic mechanisms such as the intake system and the drivetrain. CAD also helps us visualize the build process, and it allows us to figure out which parts work with others and how we can use them to design a whole robot. Essentially, it lets us plan out the potential designs. Currently, we are using CAD to make custom parts, such as the image on the right, which is an example of a custom part. And we are also planning for a robot in 3 days, which will be mentioned later in the slides. And these are some examples of the designs that we have made last year. The left is the arm mechanism, and the right is the gripper mechanism.
CAD helps us a lot because we can design our own parts, and it creates a lot of flexibility. As you can see there, our hopper and intake system are completely custom designed through CAD as well as 3D printed. You can see on the right, they play a big role in how we actually pick up the blocks and put them on the shipping hub there.
So we program our bot using Kotlin. It's the programming language that Google recommends for Android app development, and it's used extensively in server-side applications as well as data science. This helps our members in real-world applications, even beyond robotics, and even beyond the robotics team. On the right-hand side, you'll see some examples of how we've used computer vision. The first 30 seconds of every match are autonomous, so our robot needs to be able to score points without human input. And using the OpenCV library as well as TensorFlow, we've created advanced image processing algorithms as well as neural networks to be able to identify objects on the field and score points. We code using Android Studio and Kotlin. These are some pictures of our code.
Beyond the robot, we also use programming in our outreach events. On the screen above, you will see our recreation of Google Maps within our school. If you're visiting John Jay as a new member, you can use our app to enter any 2 room numbers, and provided you're a student, we will show you the shortest way to get between those 2 rooms. We're working in collaboration with school administration to generate evacuation routes, which you can see in the top right, which are slightly blurred. To generate evacuation routes that will be placed in all of the rooms to allow people in the rooms to evacuate quickly in the event of an emergency.
So as seen before, this is our CAD design of last year's robot. We will now perform a demonstration of it.
Okay. Let's see what they got. Dr. Bonk's under pressure. Speak loud. Speak louder.
Our robot has these special Omni wheels that allow our robot to move basically in any direction without turning. So we can move directly left or right without actually changing the angle of the wheels themselves, which is really helpful. It gives us basically, as you see there, 0 turn radius, which allows a lot more maneuverability for our robot.
Can I ask you a question? How many hours does it take to build this and program it?
So it takes a lot of long nights and long days, and to overall, I think we've spent about a couple months building it.
So what you just saw there is the main way the game works. You pick up the blocks and you deposit them on the shipping hub. You can also roll the ducks off for extra points and whatnot. So it's a very complex game, and there's many ways to score points in different ways. And it creates a lot of different possible solutions for each robot. It creates a lot of diversity within the first competitions.
You say you guys do a camp? Is that you do? Is there an age cutoff for participation?
So we are
What?
Are you interested?
Come on.
So as of now, we usually focus from like 6th to 8th grade, but we can make an exception just for you.
Wow. Gonna get a motion? I'm in.
We're good? All right.
So in addition to like building bots, we're also involved with our professionals in the field. So for example, these past 2 years, we've been mentored by SUNY Newpaltz, and they have taught both our teams CAD and basic skills that we need for robotics. And earlier last year, we met with a professor from Johns Hopkins, and he talked about his work and how robotics is used in the actual world.
Fantastic.
To ensure that all 40 of our members, and increasing every year, get good experience with engineering, we've devised this program called Dream, Think, Create. All new members join into groups of 3, and they have to build a project in engineering. So they have to design it, code it, and build it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a robot, but we encourage them to go through the engineering process to brainstorm, and SUNY Newpaltz mentors come down and mentor them alongside us to help further enhance their engineering skills, so that they can not only help us with our robot, but once they graduate high school, go use it out in the real world.
So during our team, we do outreach, which is going out into the community and sharing our work. So just a couple weeks ago, we were at the East Fishkill Community Day, and we showed off our robot to younger kids. At the freshman orientation a couple weeks ago as well, we spread our knowledge about robots, and we encourage people to join our club if they liked engineering and STEM. And this summer, we held our 2nd annual LEGO Spike Prime event, which is our program for 6th to 8th graders that we held. So this year, our fundraising for both of our teams, our budget is around $10,000, and this is funded for grants, individual donors, and fundraising events. So last year, we got a grant from Dutchess County. We also did a fundraiser at Chipotle, we did a clothing drive, and we did discount cards. This year, we've gotten a grant from PTC Onshape, and we've also done a clothing drive. And more of our planned fundraisers are local restaurants, and we're also planning to 3D print Christmas ornaments to sell.
This Friday, we're having an event called Robot in 3 Days, where Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have 3 days at the community center to build the robot. This is over 30 hours of time that we can spend building the designs that you saw in CAD and testing if they work, and making new designs based on that. And we're going to be also doing a lot of coding there.
Another thing we're doing this year is hosting our own qualifier tournament. First has asked us to host the qualifier, which is a really pretty prestigious honor for our school. It's a great way to spread FIRST and STEM, and there's going to be about 24 different teams there, and all are welcome to attend.
That's great.
Are there any questions?
Question. Any chances of you being able to make my car go sideways like that when I try to park?
Maybe in the future.
I've seen you park that way, Hal. What are you talking about? You guys are brilliant. You guys are fantastic. I mean, it's just a treat to have you here. It really warms our hearts to see young people like you just doing great stuff right here in our community, and I'm just so grateful you came tonight. Thank you.
Thank you a lot for having us.
Guys, Dr. Baum? Can you get your crew in front here? We'd like to take a picture with you guys.
And robots.
And the robot.
And robots.
The robots.
And the robot.
I want the robot.
Morning, morning.
Roll as soon as Cooper scooches. Scooch. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Better do another.
All set.
Did I blink? Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Always take 3.
I'm just going to say one or two things really quickly and answer a couple of questions that came up while they clean up. So the answer to the question, how many hours? I can tell you that the coaches have logged contact time per year at about 356 hours. Now, there is time that both coaches and the team members spend outside of contact time individually, but altogether, that's what we do. We are planning another CAD camp. It's in the works for the fall. Not all the details are set, otherwise I would share them now.
Is there an age limit on that?
We'll, as soon as we finalize the details, we'll let you know, but the plans I've seen are quite promising. And
Dr. Bonk has my email now, I want to know about this.
I will make sure that you were informed. And lastly, they mentioned we're going to work hard this weekend to make this season's robot. The game changes every year, so otherwise season teams would bring the same robot with a tweak, you know. Those elements you saw there from last year, there's a totally different game this year that was just announced, and we're going to get to it this weekend and push out a prototype. And when you come to see us on President's Day weekend, which there's no admission, you'll see 300 roboticists from all over New York State. It'll be really great. There's an entirely different game called Power Play. I'm going to give each of the board members a quick one-page summary so you can get an idea before you show up of how this game works, and then I'll leave these on the side in case any of our audience members in attendance are interested in seeing what they're up against, because there's a lot to do in these games.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Bonk?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So needless to say, we're very pleased to share with you one of our capstone programs in which we have a few, and we would look forward to coming back at any time during the course of the year to be able to highlight those, because we feel that it's important to spread all of the positive things that are going on within the Wappinger Central School Districts. One other thing that I wanted to mention is it has become extremely evident that it's critical within our community to make sure that we prepare our students to enter and be prepared for the jobs of today. And we have, absolutely, and we have a responsibility, and we are working with our local municipalities, the Chamber of Commerce, Dutchess Community College, and higher education, to identify where those areas are and to work to get the specific skilled and training programs into our schools. We're starting that at the high school level. We're looking to working with Dr. Jordan and Dutchess Community College, along with Dutchess County BOCES, in developing some of those programs. We've also initiated a welding program in the middle school at Van Wyck Junior High School and Wappingers Junior High School. So it's never too early to start. And again, this is a capstone program, but there is more to come, and we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr.
Good evening. Supervisor Albra, did I get that correctly?
Yes.
Members of the Fishkill Town Council, I'm Pete Jordan, the proud president at Dutchess Community College for all of 1 year and 2 months. Glad to be part of the Dutchess County and Hudson Valley community. And I'm even happier, even more excited to be with you this evening. That's a hard act to follow. Would you agree?
I agree.
Anytime we put the best and brightest of our students in front of us to showcase their talent. It's an awesome day. And so I invite you to join me again in applauding our future UCC students. I want to begin by thanking you again for inviting us here. And when I say us, I'm not just talking about DCC, but thanks to Councilmember Rye, he's made this connection for us between the secondary, or P-12, and the community college, which is something, as Dr. Bonk pointed out, we are working diligently at as well. So I also want to thank Dr. Bonk for welcoming me to Dutchess County and for his friendship, but more importantly, his partnership in terms of working with his district to provide opportunities for his students, or students, to move from the secondary realm of working with robotics in terms of competitions and clubs and so forth, to earning degrees and credentials. Not present with us today is Jason Shedlick, who is the new superintendent for Dutchess County BOCES. Couldn't be with us this evening, but his thoughts are with us. And he too is a ready and willing partner with Dutchess and the rest of Dutchess County schools, P-12 schools, to ensure that we keep great talent like you observed here in Dutchess County, because that's a primary goal of Dutchess Community College. So I want to thank my colleagues, Dr. Bonk and Dr. Shevlik. I also want to acknowledge members of the DCC team who are with me here this evening. None of us do the work that we do alone. We do it because we have great teams working besides us and with us. So I want to start by introducing a member of our Board of Trustees who is local to your community here, Stephen Caswell, who is also a Dutchess County legislator, and some of you may recognize. Where is he?
Right in back, yeah. Oh, good to see you.
Also with me is our interim vice president for instruction and learning and my chief of staff, Dr. Susan Rogers. None of what we are going to talk to you about this evening happens without an extraordinarily dedicated and smart faculty. And representing that faculty this evening at Dutchess Community College is Dan Barbuda, who is Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Technology. Also Director of off-campus centers, including the Fishkill Center that you will be hearing about, is Mr. Tim Decker. John Magel is our Director of Marketing and Communications, and the person who is the advanced man for technology at DCC. Last but not least is our Director of Workforce Education, who is Ms. Paloma Krakauer. So we're going to go quickly at this point, at least try to. And I'll talk for a little bit more through a couple slides, but then you'll hear from Susan Rogers, who will talk to you more about the process that we've been engaged with in terms of getting to the point where we've identified mechatronics, the beginning avenue to advanced manufacturing, education, and training at Dutchess Community College. And last, again, but not least, you'll hear from Dan, who will talk to you about the instructional side of things. So to get started, okay. In terms of Dutchess Community College, let me ask a question. How many of you have taken a course or graduated from Dutchess Community College? Let's give them a round of applause. And they're still here in Dutchess County. And that's part of our mission and purpose here, to make sure that we're keeping talent locally and that we are fueling the Dutchess County and Mid-Hudson Valley economy. But it's about more than educating students who are graduating from high school. For us at DCC, it's about a cradle to cane kind of cycle, life cycle for education. Councilmember Rye asked how he could get involved with the robotics program at, was it JFK?
John
Jay. Yes, John Jay. Well, you can come over to Dutchess Community College also because we are building a program for seniors as well. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So that cycle starts with the College for Kids concept. At Dutchess Community College, we want to build on our daycare center, and we want to build on our lab school, which is designed to train early childhood teachers at DCC. But we want to add to that the kinds of offerings that may help students in after-school programs with math, science, technology, the arts, education. Think of all that our students through K-12 have lost these last couple years in terms of retention of knowledge. We want to be there to support those students in terms of providing after-school opportunities for them to work with DCC students who become their faculty members to help them get over the hurdles of getting up to par in terms of math education and reading as well, and writing. We have dual credit programs that are growing by leaps and bounds across Dutchess County and Dutchess County high schools, where high school students are taking DCC courses for credit. Most of those courses are in the general education area, and they transfer to four-year colleges and universities, both public and private. But we want to move into the career and technical education space in terms of offering those courses as well. And that's where the work with Dr. Bonk and Dr. Shetlick come into play to make sure that the courses that are being offered at Dutchess BOCES are given the same DCC credit so that those students can take those courses and transfer to other post-secondary colleges and universities as well. So we're building that pathway. The associate degrees and certificate programs, which are the core of what we offer at this point, we continue to enhance and grow given the technology that is out there with virtual reality, augmented reality, AI. You heard students talking about CAD and so forth. Those are opportunities that we're looking to add to our curriculum as well. And for those of you who own or operate small businesses and not so small businesses within the community who have custom needs for training and learning within your companies, we are here for you as well. And last is the senior education focus. There are so many people within our community who are retired and not looking to move south, but they want to stay here because they enjoy living in the Hudson Valley. But they may want to learn a new skill. They may want to pick up an instrument. They may want to learn robotics, if you will, or learn how to make wine or sausage, or what have you. We are looking to provide opportunities for learning in that area as well. So let's move on to the new economic reality at here in the Hudson Valley and how DCC is looking to partner with you and with other members of the community to advance a new and flourishing economy, okay? So we know the changing landscape that exists here, and from our perspective at DCC, demographic shifts we're seeing clearly. Birth rates are down, and so the high school graduation rates are down. The number of students completing our high schools is down, and we see that on the college end, and we've been seeing it for the last 10 years as well. So how are we responding to the changing landscape? Well, as I said before, we're looking to expand our curriculum to serve in-demand and high-paying careers and skilled professions in terms of construction, healthcare management, automotive, some of the others we'll mention shortly, but also to serve more non-traditional students, individuals who need to learn new skills. These may be incumbent workers, but they want to learn new skills to move up or out of the positions that they're in at this point. And I talked about the corporate solutions and customized training as well. Here are some of the new programs that we've introduced as a college. Aviation, the Aviation Center for DCC at HVR, Hudson Valley Regional Airport, is flourishing. We just graduated the first cohort of aviation maintenance technicians. There were 17 of them who entered the program. 16 of them completed. At last count, over a dozen of them had job offers that were paying the highest salary that we noted was about $55,000 a year entering. Hospitality is another area that we introduced recently to address the leisure and hospitality industry within the Hudson Valley and Dutchess County. And expanded micro-credentials. It's not necessary for students at DCC to get a certificate in every case, but they're micro-credentials, certificates, short courses that give individuals the skills they need to move on to well-paying jobs and, in many cases, careers. Okay? Here's some of what's to come. We're working with Dutchess Bosse's and Superintendent Shedlick on automotive. We've been approached by Honda Acura and Toyota Lexus, who have tremendous needs in this area. Early childhood education, we talked about. There's not only a need for daycare, but there's the need for quality education at the early childhood level, and providing instructors to teach those students is critical, and we are looking to embark in that area as well. And manufacturing and mechatronics. You'll hear more about that, and at this point we have a short video to show you, which is a video tour of the Fishkill Center of DCC. We may not.
We may not, yes.
I thought the worst that could happen is we wouldn't have sound.
It's a beautiful facility.
It is.
I've been there, yeah.
If
Beautiful.
you visited, you
It's wonderful.
know that. At the end, we'll invite you to an open house that we have coming up soon.
Oh, good.
But at this point, I'd like to invite Dr. Rogers to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. So we apologize about the video, but as Dr. Jordan said, we will be having an open house in November that we're excited to invite you all to and tell you more about. So, all right. So, Mechatronics.
And that's the course that's being at Fishkill.
Yes. So we are here to introduce the very exciting new lab space and programming that will be at the DCC at Fishkill location. So let me start by saying that, and we're super excited about it. And people hear this word mechatronics. Sometimes they know what it is. Sometimes they don't know what it is. So I wanted to provide a really brief overview before I allow our faculty member to tell you more about it. But so mechatronics is really the intersection of mechanics, electronics, and computing. Mechatronics specialists can help create simpler, smarter systems, and yes, it does include skills in robotics. So it was just perfect that we got to see that wonderful demonstration earlier today. The project that we're planning, the beautiful lab space, I also want to note how grateful we are for funding that we've received to help support that project. And so we have received just under $1.5 million from a SUNY Centers of Workforce Grant, Future Work Centers Grant, which is incredible support and also amazing support from Dutchess County itself to help purchase the equipment as we plan out that space and curriculum. So we're very grateful and wanted to recognize that. The question about why we're pursuing this really grew out of local industry. And we have, especially since Dr. Jordan joined us a little over a year ago, been very eager to hear about the needs of the area. What we heard in collaboration with many of the local companies, Global Foundry, the Council of Industry, IBM, Imagine, MPI, were the kinds of skills that they needed in their new workers. And we sat down, we had many face-to-face and Zoom meetings. It was actually very exciting when we transitioned from Zoom back in person again and got to meet these folks face-to-face. But we really listened to what they were saying they needed in new workers. And it was from that information that we set out to explore exactly how we could put together these labs and provide exactly the right kind of training that's needed in our region, which is somewhat unique in its manufacturing needs. Some of the reasons for putting together the lab in Fishkill that we're talking about, number one, a lab of this kind simply doesn't exist in our region. So as we try to train the future workers to close the skills gap and create pipelines to some of these excellent jobs, we needed a space to do this, and we heard that very clearly from our industry partners. We also, of course, want to help local businesses maintain operations and expand and attract new business. And, of course, yes, we're also looking to attract new students and help increase DCC's enrollment. And this graph is much smaller than I thought it would be. So just to summarize, this graph shows the average wages for people who come out with a 2-year degree in the electrical technician program, which the mechatronics training program can help feed into. And these folks can make a very livable wage, which is what we are looking for as we graduate students, especially in these career and technical programs. We don't want to graduate students that are, going to come out and make $15 an hour. We all know that doesn't fly. So we are looking to make sure that we're supporting our students as they leave us and then hopefully maybe even come back for additional training in the future.
What are the salary ranges, since we can't read them?
Yeah, so this is showing between about $60,000 and $70,000.
Coming out of the program?
It's an average. It's within the first few years, but yes.
So right here in Fishkill, this is the possibility of people getting these courses under their belts and going on and establishing themselves with a nice income. So that's
right.
That's what I want.
And they can live right here in Dutchess.
That's what I want to hear.
Great, thank you, Councilman. Okay, so to provide a little bit more detailed information about both mechatronics and the instruction and the new lab layout, I'd like to introduce Dan Barbuda, faculty member.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. I am Dan Barbuda, and I teach technicians. What is mechatronics? So you can see there's a lot of pieces here: electrical, mechanical, automation, robotics. The word mechatronics, the first half of the word mechanical and the last half of the word electronics. So that's where you get that combination. What is mechatronics leads into why do we care? Companies want to hire technicians that are versatile, which means that these technicians can troubleshoot and fix not just electrical problems, but also mechanical problems, automation problems. Makes sense why companies would want this. So education and the programs at Dutchess Community College are going to follow this need. I should point out the current two-year degree program, which I chair and teach in as a full-time teacher, and I'm not sure why that screen went off. Since 2009, we've had more job openings than graduates to fill those openings. So basically, I need more students. Industry needs more technicians. And that's the point where I go on to the next slide, which is in front of me but not in front of you. So, instruction to be offered. We have a list, which will appear shortly. I give off electromagnetic waves. That's the problem. I'll talk about the slide, and then you'll see it. There we are. We have a list of skills, a skills list that we put together with local companies and with, and also using the Department of Labor skills and electromechanical. Electrical, pneumatics, programmable logic controllers, that's where the automation is really based. Motors and motor controls, mechanical drives, process control, smart factory, which is very advanced, robotics, and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, which is in there because any facility you have where manufacturing takes place, they're going to need facilities. They're going to need chemical operations. They're going to need chilled water. They're going to need all kinds of facilities. HVAC is part of that. The way we came up with that list leads into the industry needs. This is one piece of equipment that I want to highlight. It's called the Skill Boss. This is a great piece of equipment because it has kind of a little bit of everything. It has some air pressure controls. It's got a motor. It's got a belt drive. You do some of the basics of maintaining and operating manufacturing equipment. This is great for somebody who is either in a career and now let me try this and see if I want to change careers, or somebody who is right out of high school. Let me see what this is all about before I get into something involving technology and manufacturing. Or this is something for high school students to come in and let me find out what mechatronics is in a hands-on way. So I like this piece of equipment. In addition to credit programming, we'll be offering certifications. Smart Automation Certification Alliance, or SACA for short, has established levels of certification. The piece of equipment shown there is from the vendor, the manufacturer, Amatrol. That is the Smart Lab. That is, we're going to have 7 pieces that involve actually making a usable part, and along the way, sensors, mechanical drives, a robotic arm, all the things you would see on the floor of a manufacturing facility. And that's going to be the hands-on, that's going to be the major hands-on part in the automation lab. Certifications are great for working technicians. It helps them become more versatile. If they're used to only troubleshooting one type of problem, they come in for training, they can learn a whole lot more. And I'll go on to the next slide. About the layout of the lab. So we're taking a block of space in the original footprint of DCC Fishkill to dedicate to this lab. It's actually going to be a 3-room lab. The electrical lab and the automation lab are going to be in one combined space. The smart factory is going to be in part of this layout. We're looking to have the build out of the space start late spring, and then in the summer have the delivery and the installation of all the equipment from Amatrol. One thing I want to point out about this lab that is exciting to me, the online materials, the online learning materials that come with this lab equipment, those materials are fantastic. So working technicians, students coming in from high school, they'll be able to use the online learning materials to make this a more flexible learning opportunity. They can do a lot of the study on their own, learning on their own with this online learning material, or they can meet with a professor, or they can come to a lecture. When it comes to the labs, they book time on the equipment when they are available and the lab is open, not just on a 2-hour lab slot. So that gets us away from being married to a certain day and time of the week. So I'm excited to have this lab and the flexibility of instruction that comes with it.
And students can start taking courses when? Next?
Oh, right, in the fall, right. With the fit out in the spring and the delivery of equipment in the summer, next fall we'll be offering instruction there.
And when do they start enrolling? When is that available?
The enrollment precedes the fall semester. So we're going to be set up to have spring enrollments. So we'll have information about exactly what courses and how to enroll in the spring.
This is very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to return the microphone to Dr. Susan Rogers.
All right, so I think we just wanted to close up by making sure that everybody here knew about the open house that was happening in November, and to extend a very heartfelt invitation to those of you who have seen Fishkill before and those of you who may not have. This is a great event. It will be on Saturday, November 19th from 11 to 2. So there'll be plenty of time for you to drop in.
Say the times again, please.
11 to 2 on Saturday, November 19th.
Oh, great.
And we'll have staff there. You can take a tour. You can ask questions. You can hear about programming. You can see the space that's been designated for these labs, although the labs won't be built yet. But you can hear all about the exciting plans, and we sincerely hope that you will come.
Oh, I will.
I have one question.
Sure.
Do you have any work-study programs with local businesses?
So I think you're talking about internships. So we do have some internships, and we are looking to build out more internships. We actually have just instated in our Office of Workforce Development a new position that is specifically there to help connect students to internships, connect small businesses to our students, to make sure that that is a productive and educational experience for all involved. And we're very, very excited to move forward on that kind of programming. As you can imagine, the internships that we had previously hit a major stall with COVID, and we are ramping back up again. But we are excited to get our students out there.
Great.
How about EMT?
We have an EMT program.
In Fishkill or Poughkeepsie?
Oh, I see. So currently the majority of the EMT programming is offered on the Poughkeepsie campus, but we are offering some on the Fishkill campus. I know that in our previous South location, we did a lot of the EMT programming, and that's something that the program chair is exploring again.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions for myself or any members of the team?
No, we thank you for your time so much, Dr. Jordan. You guys were fantastic. We look forward to this Fishkill facility opening up. And it's just really, really, really a beautiful facility. I've been through it and look forward to this course for.
So the Fishkill Center is open. The mechatronics part of it will be coming in the fall.
Expansion. Right.
With COVID and supply chain issues, it's taking much longer to get the equipment than we planned. So thank you again for making time for us to visit with you, and thank you for listening. We look forward to your continued support for DCC and these new ventures that we'll be exploring.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, our third presentation will be our new town historian, Mr. Arnold Restivo.
Oh, thank you. Well, I know everybody's got my 12-month plan that I plan on accomplishing my first year here as a town historian. One of the things that I want to note, and what the main motivation behind it is that in Dutchess County, over $632 million were spent by travelers coming to visit Dutchess County through either food, beverages, hospitality, transportation. It actually was an increase of over $214 million from 2020. Travelers actually have spent over $3.8 billion just in the Hudson Valley alone. Now, what that in turn becomes is for every 100 jobs that are supported directly for the tourist industry, an additional 61 indirect tourist jobs are created. So this is where a market that I think that we could take a much bigger role in, especially with all the historic sites that we have here and history behind it. If you look at my proposal, I'm in the middle of right now actually consolidating and categorizing and organizing much of what we have within our archives, and also societies as well as sites. And then from there, I'm looking to actually develop through, of course, with the town website, possibly an expansion of that. I was to actually have it so people can come, they would have self-tours, they would be able to learn more about each individual topic. I've had the luxury of speaking yesterday at the Historic Honor Society over at John Jay High School. I've met with the 5 different presidents of the groups, and so the high school is willing to come in and actually help me develop that. I also have other volunteers through some of the announcements that we have made. I've got a volunteer out in Delaware that will help with the genealogy, although that is not the role of a town historian. But the town historian's role in the arts and cultural law, has one of them is to promote history and tourism. So I'm hoping that that we'd be further along, but I think that within 12 months that we should be able to have a more concrete ability for people to come in and experience some of the sites that we have.
Arnold?
Yes, sir.
We've known each other for quite a few years. I had no idea you were into history like you are. It's very, very impressive. I mean, if you tackle 10% of this in the first year, I consider that a major win for the town. People have to know that you're volunteering to do this. You're the historian, but you really want to do it, and you really have the means, and I just really thank you for this display of drive that you have to help us here in the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arnold, have you connected with the Fishkill Historical Society?
Oh, yes, I have. I've spoken with Cliff Foley, and I did get an opportunity to meet Steve Lynch over at the Van Wyck estate just a couple of days ago. But there's more. I really want to make contact with the county historian and some other historians, because I've noticed that from my experience with other town historians, say my experience has been up in Ulster County, is that much of the information between the different town historians overlap. And so that I know that I'd like to work more with Beacon's Historic Society, because I know they have much in the way of history that is part of the town. So hopefully that I can digitize much of that and put it on, so when somebody goes on our website and let's say clicks on a specific site, let's say the Fishkill Tea Party, we can have not only a blurb about it, it could even be a video explaining the whole thing behind it, and then the affiliated documents, or the documents that we and other societies have in our possession that could really enlighten people to how important this is. History repeats itself.
Any other questions, Louise?
No, I'm good.
No. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold.
Okay, there are no new town employees to announce today. Next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. So hold on a second. There's a lot of people here today. We want to get this meeting moving. So you have 3 minutes to speak today and address the board and nobody else, okay? So we can start now. You can go first.
Can we speak about other things, or do we have to just?
What do I got on here?
This is general town items.
No.
General comments or about the whole meeting?
Speak.
Any town items.
Anything that's regarding the town of Fishkill.
All right. So I just want to, and you can tell me if I have to wait, but I want to speak to you about something about the town of Fishkill. And just following up on that whole history thing, let's get up and learn our history. We shouldn't just start on... So unfortunately, Judge Acker disregarded the fact that it's not in the best interest of this municipality and the surrounding water districts, users, as well as the outlying municipalities that depend on the water district and its infrastructure. There are a lot of unknowns in the 20-year-old water system that many residents already rely on, including outdated studies from 2019 and older. I believe many, if not all of you, should recuse yourself from tonight's vote pertaining to Continental Commons, their GLC. I believe there are some with family connections to applicant and its previous council. Do not make this about local politics. Perhaps you should look closely how your right hand is presenting its segment tonight to the public on promoting the town of Fishkill's history and backstory for tourism dollars, but your left hand is teetering in the balance with the possibility of voting the approval to allow the historic Fishkill Supply Depot to be destroyed, erased, and ultimately bulldozed under forever, making way for a fake historic-looking strip mall. Fighting back against this project, against applicants' lawsuits, is not about wasting money. It's about the health and welfare and the future of all residents. This project still does not have final approval from the Dutchess County Department of Health engineers, as well as the fact that the sewer goes to the City of Beacon waste treatment plant, which has a limited capacity with buildings booming in Beacon. It also did not acknowledge that the water is from the village of Fishkill, which will need to sign an agreement to service this out-of-district water user. It's been a long battle. Like most, I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. I will never give up the fight for historic preservation and the safety of our drinking water. Some members on this board promote themselves as advocate of historic preservation, yet they have yet to walk the talk. Stand your ground, save historic Fishkill, save the Hudson Valley history, and please vote no. Stop it.
Anybody else? Anybody else who wants to speak? Just let us know who you are too, okay?
Hi, my name is Keith Riley. I'm the co-president of the Friends of Fishkill Supply Depot. I'd like to address my concerns for approval of sewer and water for Continental Commons. In preparing for tonight, I've come across an issue that needs to be addressed by the board and the town attorney. The issue is that board member Foreman's brother, Peter Foreman, works for the very same law firm that Dominic Broccoli of Continental Commons also employed that same law firm of Cuddy and Furter. We feel that this is a major conflict of interest, and Mr. Foreman needs to recuse himself from any votes regarding Continental Commons. My question for Mr. Foreman is, were you ever going to tell the public about this conflict of interest? Until this legitimate question can be resolved, we urge the town board to pause on tonight's approval for sewer and water for Continental Commons. In September of 2020, the town of Fishkill board wisely voted to deny Continental Commons water and sewer, asserting that the project was, quote, not in the public interest, end quote. 2 years later, an activist judge has overruled the town's legitimate and lawful power to make decisions on behalf of the people of Fishkill. An outside judge has sided with an individual over the environmental and historical concerns of the residents who witnessed firsthand the degradation of much of the supply depot on the eyesore of the property today known as the Dutchess Mall. On behalf of the Friends of Fishkill Supply Depot and the many residents of Fishkill, I implore you to summon a little of the courage of our soldiers of the revolution. Don't hide behind the judge's robes and say there's nothing we can do. The voters of Fishkill and the soldiers buried on the property do not want to hear that you're scared of more petty lawsuits or any other cowardly excuses. Again, until the question regarding Mr. Foreman can be satisfactorily answered, we urge the Fishkill Town Board to pause tonight's vote for approval of sewer and water for Continental Commons. The residents behind me and those watching at home, they all agree and they all vote. Say no to judicial overreach, appeal this unconstitutional decision. Do it for Fishkill, for the soldiers of the Continental Army, for democracy. You have an opportunity tonight to deliver a message of hope and tell the rest of the country that here in the town of Fishkill, we don't sell out. We don't give up. We don't ever quit on our veterans. In Fishkill, we're all still patriots. Huzzah.
Good evening, Supervisor Ozzie and Town Board members. My name is Alicia. I am a local school teacher and dance teacher here in the town of Fishkill. I have a background in history, archaeology, and environmental science. My past and current work experiences include working for the Putnam County Historian's Office and the National Park Service. Now I am in charge of education, curation, and the secretary for the Town of Carmel Historical Society. I am speaking tonight about Fishkill Supply Depot. There is a 1760 map indicating the significance of this area dating back to the Wappinger-Mattawan Indian Band and the Revolutionary War. We need to preserve this sacred site. Many of my ancestors served in the Revolutionary War. The town can appeal the judge's ruling. As elected officials, you all have the responsibility to look after the public interest. This 2020 agreement should be honored regardless of the judge ruling in favor of the developer. I am asking the Town Board of Fishkill to file an appeal against the judgment of Article 78 lawsuit allowing for the water and sewer service to be extended to this project site of the Fishkill Supply Depot sacred grounds. One reason to file an appeal is that the Town of Fishkill already has a surplus of available retail space. Another reason is the sacred site is archaeologically and culturally significant. The Fishkill Supply Depot grounds is a historic gem where people from all ages and all backgrounds can learn from. Don't turn a blind eye to this issue. Thank you for your time and for listening tonight.
Hi, I'm the other co-president for the Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot. Every time I've been up here, I look at the sign, I see the Patriot warrior there, and I know that there are bodies.
Your name?
Rob Bucari.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm the other co-president. So I just wanted to say there comes a time when a person must stand up and be counted. It is not for you to vote the way you feel would be expedient and easy, but it is a time for you to have courage, like the brave men and women who fought for America's independence. Many of them are buried in Fishkill. Don't continue to bulldoze and cover with concrete the history of this proud town. Honor your history. Stand on the side of preservation. If you wipe out your history, you wipe out the soul of the community. Let the Revolutionary War warriors buried in Fishkill rest in peace, undisturbed by 21st century profit motive and corporate greed. Stand up and be counted.
Hi, my name is Joanna Sweeney, and I'm here as well because I do not... Louder? Sorry. How's that? Better? Awesome. Thank you. I do not support the building at Continental Commons on the site of the Fishkill Supply Depot. This is an area where we know the remains of our nation's first patriots have been found. In simply discovering these, we can be reasonably sure more artifacts and remains will be unearthed. If Mr. Broccoli is serious about preserving history and not just capitalizing on the name, this land would be preserved in a much more honorable fashion. The Fishkill community values the preservation and non-desecration of fallen soldiers over giving Mr. Broccoli another potential eye help. And we've heard Mr. Broccoli's point of, we found some of the bones. Isn't that enough? Well, just theming this project is not the same as leaving no soldier behind. And the next point that I'd like to make is the town council rules state that the council should be operating in a degree of high moral conduct. We are asking Mr. Foreman to recuse himself from this vote because his brother's law firm represents Mr. Brackley. Your family could either financially benefit directly or indirectly from this decision, thus creating a conflict of interest. Mr. Foreman, quoting from your campaign, "It is your top priority to remind the town's government that it works for you." The "you" in that campaign promise refers to us. We see you voting with the potential for the financial benefit over the concerns of the citizens of Fishkill to be a conflict of interest. In closing, I'd like to quote Abraham Lincoln, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here." Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Groen. The Fishkill Supply Depot was a fascinating and integral part of the success of the American Revolution. Without it, the USA might never have been born. So you'd think its name would ring a bell with most Americans, just like Valley Forge or Saratoga. Unfortunately, it does not. What's more shocking is that most of today's Fishkill residents have never heard of it or have only a vague understanding of its exceeding importance to the war. Unlike many small towns, Fishkill is blessed with an archaeological gem that is the Fishkill Supply Depot, and yet it has never really owned or taken advantage of that history. This is a huge missed opportunity. I was truly gobsmacked when, after living in Fishkill for 2 decades, I finally learned of this ignored treasure right here at home. But it's not for lack of good intentions that the town has failed to capitalize on this asset, as it is very clearly spelled out in the town's own comprehensive plan that explicitly directs the town leaders to work with representatives of New York State, the federal government, and interested parties to purchase or otherwise preserve portions of the historic Fishkill Supply Depot lands that remain undeveloped, and explore how these lands can best be used to commemorate the activities that occurred on these hallowed grounds, especially those lands where grave sites of former soldiers have been identified. Couldn't be more clear, could it? I don't know about you, but allowing a developer to develop a tacky strip mall with 18th century trappings is probably not the best way to fulfill the town's wise vision for preserving undeveloped lands of the historic Fishkill Supply Depot. Just the groundwork needed for the development will eviscerate most of the archaeological value of the site. I'm not the only Fishkill resident who feels this way. I conducted a methodical and unbiased survey of the feelings and attitudes of Fishkill residents regarding the fate of the Fishkill Supply Depot, the results of which were presented to Fishkill town leaders in early 2019. The gist of it was that a huge majority of residents preferred preservation as a state or national historic park versus developing it for commercial reasons. The results were very consistent. 85 to 95% of residents favored preservation. The fate of the Fishkill Supply Depot is teetering on a razor's edge right now and could easily be destroyed with the stroke of a pen. So I'm imploring the town board members to do what's right for their citizenry, their country, and most of all for the heroic founding soldiers who lie buried on that sacred ground by derailing this ill-conceived development once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You wouldn't know he's deaf, would you? I'm Marty Levine. I'm in Round Hill. As you can see, I'm here to add my voice to Stop Continental Commons. Bulldozing and paving over Fishkill's history is not a good thing, especially since it includes the events of the American Revolution. I'm not talking about finding any remains of the 7,000 Revolutionary War soldiers who gave up their lives for this country. I'm not speaking about how Fishkill played a crucial, if not accidental, role in the capture of the British spy, Major John Andre, who together with Benedict Arnold plotted to abandon West Point to the enemy, and by the way, also killed General George Washington in the process. But I am very concerned that our current generation and generations to come will never truly appreciate how our country came into existence. We don't need a reconditioned, make-believe, artificial history lesson from Mr. Broccoli. Thank you very much. We don't need it. We have the real deal right here in Fishkill, courtesy of our 7,000 soldiers who died in the brutal 8-year Revolutionary War, with the supply depot a huge part of it. There's been some talk, we just heard it from John, of a memorial park on the precious few acres that still have escaped the bulldozer. Wouldn't that be great? I can clearly envision such a park filled with students of all ages in wonder and excitement. Of course, working with the new town historian to promote local tourism. Just think of some popular historical tourist attractions already in the country, especially Virginia, Yorktown, Jamestown, Williamsburg, even in Setauket on the North Shore of Long Island, which has a special Corpus Spy Day once a year that draws thousands of people. This can only benefit our restaurants and hotels, and of course, generate more revenue for the town. It's a win-win. Carmine, are you listening? Are you listening to me? I can say a lot more, but I think my time is limited.
20 seconds.
I urge you to vote to stop Continental Commons. I couldn't have said better than the previous speakers. I'm just adding my voice, and it's just a horror show if you continue with not blocking him. I can't believe that you would actually consider what seems to be in the making. I moved to Fishkill 8 years ago. It looked a beautiful town. I didn't know anything about it. We moved in, and I learned the historical nature of it.
It's Marty.
My time is up. Okay. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Marty.
Good evening. I'm Carolyn Catalano. I want to say that I totally disagree with John Groen's statement that it is a stroke of a pen that will destroy the last open Fishkill supply depot. It's not a stroke of a pen. It is a yay or nay on the vote tonight. You still have options. Even if you do not agree with the need to preserve the land, we do not need another building that will eventually become vacant and possibly abandoned, like the old Dutchess Mall. You need to appeal tonight the appeal for the Broccoli Article 78 judgment against the town of Fishkill. There's 3 reasons for your vote to do that appeal. You need to determine the condition of the pipes in the ground before allowing them to be put into use again. This is simple. No one can argue this point. The town of Fishkill also already has a surplus of available rental space. So why destroy a critical, important, and unique archaeological site to create even more unnecessary retail space? The desire to preserve the Fishkill Supply Depot, which is a nationally important historical gem that Fishkill should take great pride in. I find it ironic that tonight, for the first time, I see the 12-month plan to reintroduce our town's history to the general public on the same night that you're voting to put the gasoline in the bulldozers. I realize that the municipality has already spent money in court. I say spend more money. If you win, you will have preserved land that can bring the future tourism to the area that you're looking to do. I want to speak directly to Mr. Albra, Supervisor Albra, in regards to recusing yourself. My understanding tonight is that you do not need to recuse yourself on the appeal vote. I realize that you have recused yourself in the past. I just want to reiterate that it is okay to vote. Once you allow this land to be built on, it will be gone forever. The corner dedication that is there now is a disgrace. The proposed plan does not give any respect to this land. Don't be fooled. Stand up now or sit down forever. Time to be brave. Vote no.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Walsh-Jamin. Many tonight are focused on the historic nature of the Fishkill Supply Depot. I applaud their efforts to preserve our history. I would like to focus my comments specifically on the sewer line expansion. Continental Commons intends to build in the Fishkill Creek watershed along Snook Road. As a resident of Snook Road since 2008, I have witnessed the impacts of severe storms on this land and the water. During every heavy rainstorm, the Fishkill Creek swells. The stream in the front of my yard, which is sometimes a few inches deep, swells to as high as 4 feet. The McEwen residence at 220 Snook Road has transformed into an island on multiple occasions these past few years. And twice in the past 5 years, the entire portion of western Snook Road has been washed out by storm surge. At the town's expense, underground culverts at 242, 234, and 222 Snook Road have needed to be expanded and replaced. Despite these mitigation efforts, the flooding of the Fishkill Creek watershed continues. My concern with the sewer expansion on a land with a very recent history of flooding, and with the increase in frequency of heavy rainstorms due to climate change, is that the flooding will result in the sewer backing up. The sewage will pollute the creek and the groundwater in a neighborhood where all of the residents are on well water. The pollution will be irreversible, and the neighborhood will be permanently impacted in a negative way. I've sent emails to each of you and had discussions with many of you, and after a lot of consideration of the options at hand, I urge you to appeal the court's decision.
Hello, everybody. I've been asked by Paul Gromkowski, the former Town of Fishkill historian, to read a letter. He's unable to make it tonight. Titled "The Last Battle of a Lost Fishkill." I have been a Fishkill resident since 1990 and lived my first 36 years before that in the city of Beacon. So all my life, I have been very close to the Revolutionary War encampment and depot. I am also a person that reads, understands, and consistently learns about the history that surrounds us. We are fortunate to live at the, quote, crossroads of the Revolution, i.e., the intersection of Route 9 and 52, and to be stewards of quite a bit of real estate along the Hudson River, the 1700s equivalent of I-95. Whoever controlled the river controlled movement in the colonies. Over the years, we and the town have neglected to remember or preserve the treasures we had, either through ignorance or greed. What would you say or do if someone wanted to put a fast food restaurant right next to or possibly on top of your parents' or grandparents' graves? Would you do all you could to possibly prevent it or not? Without argument, this site, along with the rest of Route 9, area in Fishkill is an important historical area that provided the Continental Army and state militias with food, clothing, equipment, repairs, and a rest area, including barracks, barns, huts, and buildings. To argue, well, most of the area is already paved over, doesn't make another wrong right. If they could talk, what would our revolutionary soldiers say of you if you do not continue to oppose the Continental Commons project by way of appealing Judge Acker's ruling? What would they say if you willingly caved in and the land is stripped and paved with yet another asphalt slab while travelers walk their dogs on what is sacred ground? I think they would start another revolution. Think about that the next time you campaign and say, I support our troops, and you look me or any former service person in the eye and say, thank you for your service. Think about those patriots who first stood up under our flag and started it all, fought for us, labored there, suffered there, and are still there. Support their legacy, honor them, and do them justice. Paul Gromkowski. So that's from him, so now it's me. Ann Lagoy, I'm a resident here. I've been involved in this battle for more than 20 years. So I'm here to talk again about my concerns about this project. And I'm here to say you still have an opportunity to appeal the judgment made by Judge Acker, utilize the laws that were legally put in place to protect our water and heritage from such an egregious violation against the Fishkill Supply Depot grounds and all it represents. The grit and determination of our founding patriots who believed so deeply in a government of, by, and for the people that so many lay down their lives for that end. I have no doubt our forefathers are rolling over where they lay in their Fishkill graves at the thought of this commercial project going through under the pretense of honoring them and the battle fought for the founding of our great nation. Once again, as I drove by the site, I saw flags laying on the ground in the rain. And I have a picture that was just today. The need to determine the condition of the pipes in the ground before allowing them to be put into use again. I am curious to see if Mike from Camo was consulted in any manner regarding this issue. He made a presentation in front of the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee, and it was fascinating, and the guy knows his stuff. If he has not been consulted, really shame on the town that still has not come up. To destroy a critically important and unique archaeological site, to create more unnecessary real estate, retail space, which will fail. It will fail. The people have a desire to preserve the historic Fishkill Supply Depot site. I also agree with the sentiments regarding Mr. Foreman. You need to recuse yourself because of the close connection between Dominic Broccoli's legal team and your family. If you do not appeal this decision, I am left wondering if the town's encouragement of the current Comprehensive Plan Update Committee is simply a farce, and the residents who have dedicated many hours and much thought to the vision of Fishkill are wasting their time. Residents of the town have clearly spoken their concerns regarding so much development disproportionately draining the resources of this town. I ask that you vote to appeal the judge's decision and continue opposing the Continental Commons proposal. Our patriots starved, froze, and they fought. They still fought. And you have an opportunity to do them justice, to still fight. The fact that we're deliberating over a little bit of money when this historic gem is at stake is beyond me.
Thank you, Ann.
Good evening. I'll be brief. My name is Ed Spaeth. I live up the hill from the project here in the Walnut Grove, where the soldiers came up and drank of the spring that spills out in the Walnut Grove, just off my property. One of those soldiers happens to be an ancestor of mine, Francois Martin Pilon from Canada. He came and he fought with the Americans and had his family with him, and he happened to die here in Fishkill of smallpox, and he is likely buried in that mass grave. I can't believe that this assembly here thinks that we should build a IHOP or a hotel on hallowed ground where soldiers are buried that fought, and you have the nerve to have an emblem with a revolutionary soldier as your seal, and you're going to allow the project to be passed and desecrate this hallowed ground. I ask that you please really consider what you're going to do with the land that would bring people to this area for the history, not for the IHOP, but for the history of this sacred land, Fishkill Supply Depot. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Kenya Gadsden. Pretty full right now. There's a lot going on here. I'm gonna have 4 issues to bring forward. One is to invite everyone. I'm one of the members on the comprehensive committee, and I'm inviting everyone to come out and see the work that we have been doing. Fishkill belongs to you. You have a voice now, and you can share with us and exchange, and we'd be more than happy to make every attempt to include your thoughts, your ideas, and your concepts into the plan. That's number one. Number 2, each one of the board members had received an email from me based on my treatment from the planning board. I felt that I needed to include you because here is where you got a voice. When I sat on this town board, we gave people the ability to go to meetings and speak. And so I have never in my life experienced 4 months of constant fighting to get my point across, along with my fellow neighbors, to be told every month that we gave them something new, which is scary because they too was in possession of the same paperwork that we had, only to wait until the opportunity where we can no longer speak for them to give back to that developer exactly what they agreed not to do. So I am saddened that only one, and I thank you, Councilwoman Daniele, got back to me and just acknowledged my email. So I want to remind you guys that you guys work for us. And so the fact that I've been ignored on multiple levels by some of you is disgusting. So I'm here because I'm also concerned about the future and fiscal health of Fishkill. In the last year, I watched town money being wasted, in my opinion, on frivolous lawsuits that cost the town a tune of $50,000 plus. I watched those who then were running for office talk about fiscal accountability and righting all the wrongs they conjured up in their minds that we, those that served with me, committed. Fast forward to all the raises, not questioning whether they were deserved, but shelled out without concrete reasoning and outside of budget time. Here we are with adding almost $50,000 to taxpayers because people decided to run for office, give out raises, and in return, they want health insurance. Is this an example of pay to play? We must ask ourselves as a town, where are we going to be in 5 years? Will the town be able to sustain all of the raises, bonuses, and burden of the insurance for the taxpayers because they now added health insurance? You can apply for a job, get the package, and then once inside, change the game. As I stated before, next will be raises for the town board members, in addition to insurance coverage and frivolous lawsuits as seen fit by those that once prided themselves. So this is my time, and I have more, and I will send it. And I just will end with this. If you guys do not appeal, and you think that you walk out of here and you continue to say that we are standing behind the judge's decision, you are frivolously handling the very people that have put you in those seats, and they will vote and they will show you who's in charge. Thank you.
I'm Marty Beister. I live on Highview Road, and I'm here to speak about the Continental Commons development. In the package for this, these sewer and water extensions, the Continental Commons petition to be included in the Town of Fishkill's budget sewer and water district extensions after the extensions are approved by the County Department of Health, as I understand it. And that's right from the package. The Fishkill Town Board refused to grant the extensions because it was not in the public interest. The court, however, found no evidence in the record which was contrary to the public interest, and directed the petitions to be granted. Not Continental Commons, not the Planning Board, not the Town Board addressed the public interest. What is the public interest? Is it identifying, mapping, protecting, and saving the archaeological resources of the supply depot, which remain within the Continental Commons development site, and make accommodations to preserve the integrity of those archaeological resources? Apparently, the court itself was a bit surprised not to find evidence contrary to the public interest, acknowledging a record rife with public opposition to the Continental Commons. Is it not the public interest for Continental Commons to be included in the district extensions without first assuring that the remaining archaeological resources are preserved, let alone preserve the site for its memorial purposes? What is the public interest? Even the court couldn't find it. Here we have tonight people discussing, again, the public interest. I entered this project in 2007. And we've been to many presentations before the planning board, and no one came up with the public interest, so it would go to the court and say, this is why we want to protect it. We don't want to protect that site. I say that I petitioned the town board to delay the response to the court of the court order, document the public interest. What is it? Appealed the court ruling, and assure Continental Commons will accommodate preservation of the site. Your own letters that in this package goes on from page 133 to 135, lists all the times that we met in this room to go over this. It's been going on from 2007. And we can't present a public interest? That's what the problem is. The Continental Commons comes in and says they're going to build. Whose interest is that? Is it ours? The public's? No. It's Mr. Broccoli's interests. It's all the interests that you've addressed. I say, do not sign off on this. Appeal to the court and come up with a satisfactory explanation of what the public interest is in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Candace Coates. I live at 22 Western Avenue. I'm a direct descendant of Isaac Angel. He was a Revolutionary soldier who served with the Continental Army with great pride and service to our country. What this is going on, I am appalled that this is still being allowed to be discussed, that this water is a huge resource for our community, and to allow this to go forward without an appeal to the judge is a shameful disgrace. Please vote no. Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Jamie Machado. I'm a proud resident of Village of Fishkill, business owner, taxpayer, and I'm proud to be working on such a forward-thinking project that will reflect to celebrate and honor the history of Dutchess County. A couple of facts that I think everyone needs to understand. The water sewer district extensions were never a discretionary approval by the previous town board. As property owner, Mr. Broccoli always had the right to extend the water and sewer lines from the existing gas station, which is also known as Speedway. That's located on intersection 84 and Route 9. The board, following this previous board, illegally rejected the water and sewer connections and allowed the politics to triumph over the facts and the law. Certain individuals, I may add, falsely guiding local citizens and groups, and also hobbyists, to legally resist the project based on falsely created information. The Supreme Court of Dutchess County agreed that the approvals were justified and has ordered the new town board to reject and the tired gamemanship of the past and move forward. Please do so tonight without delay. This technical approval will allow us to go forward with our design to reflect and celebrate our shared history through colonial architecture, a living museum, a visitor center, and as far as the Continental Commons team, I believe that we are going to honor the heritage and past by celebrating it. I look forward to talking to Arno Restivo. There's a lot to learn here, and I think that everyone should understand that the history, what we call the Fishkill Depot, is actually bigger than what we think. It's the backbone of the existence of this country. It's way bigger than everyone's saying. It's more important than you think. We need to preserve it. We need to talk about it correctly and get the facts out. So let's call Continental Commons for what it is: a unique, authentic, historic village with pedestrian connections to the existing historic resources such as the Van Wyck House, which they probably would love to, be engaged. And keep up the politics and let the land and the property be developed. And again, I would like to talk to Arnold, historian, so we could get the facts straight and move forward. Thank you.
Hello, Board. Dominic Broccoli, owner of Continental Commons. I thought we weren't going to let people direct their questions to the audience members, but when it's me, I guess it's allowed. I just want to clarify Once again, Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot misinformation campaign. My attorney, my land use attorney, is no longer Cuddy and Fetter. My land use attorney, Lino, I'd like to introduce him to the town. So this talk about conflict of interest does not exist. Lino has been my attorney for over 2 years. Jennifer Van Tile is no longer my land use attorney. So at this time, I'd like to just introduce Lino. If you'd come up, Lino, introduce yourself to the town.
Thank you, Dominic. Supervisor, members of the board, Lino Sciaretta, partner with the law firm Blakely, Platt & Schmidt. And again, just for the record, I've been retained by Dominic a couple of years ago as his land use counsel and litigation counsel. We're on record on some of the papers in this case. But again, I'll be handling this project going forward in the land use capacity, so I just want to introduce myself, say hello, and also just to clarify, we have no connection to Mr. Foreman, nor does my firm. So I know I heard that earlier this evening about Cuddy Fader, but I'm at Blakely Platt, and I've been there for quite some time. So thank you very much. Look forward to working with you all. So thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Vicki Fox. I actually live in Beacon, though back in the 1700s, this whole area was known as the Fishkills, right? Formerly Fishkill Landing. And I'm a retired social studies teacher. And I think probably everybody's aware of the fact that once upon a time, Fishkill Supply Depot was much, much, much larger. It was, George Washington was receiving supplies from New England. The British were occupying New York City. The reason that the chains were put across the Hudson at the Highlands was to keep the British away from the Fishkill Supply Depot. It was absolutely, if we could speak to Washington, I'm sure he wouldn't hesitate to say that the Fishkill Supply Depot was the heart of the American effort. I just want to remind you that once it is allowed to be bulldozed over, and Mr. Broccoli's idea of what's historically accurate and what is a historic celebration is put in there instead, it's gone, because the Fishkill Supply Depot, so much of it has been bulldozed over already, and we all know the Dutchess Mall. It used to be, it was huge. And you know, I read in something that Mr. Broccoli put out that he said that the Speedway gas station was colonial architecture. So I think that gives us an indication of what, you know, he believes is a way of celebrating the historical importance of the Fishkill Supply Depot. Please don't make this mistake. Please, let's take advantage of the historical resources of this area, and let's do something right with the Fishkill Supply Depot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That'll be it for discussion. For privilege of the floor. We're going to move now on to, I had some comments, but I'm not going to spend a long night. I'll pass on that. Next up is liaison member reports. We'll start with John.
Okay, I'll be real quick. September 24th, I attended Slater Palooza. September 25th, breakfast at Roundabout Fire District. On September 28th, we had a comprehensive committee meeting right here at Town Hall. And as another reminder, we do have an open house for the comprehensive committee this Saturday morning at 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock here at Town Hall downstairs. Thank you.
Brian?
Nothing really this week, except I'm taking my son to JFK on Saturday morning, so I'm going to be a little late getting back to partake in the comprehensive plan open house downstairs.
Please.
Let's see. The village unfortunately had to cancel the block party because of rain. For HR, Suzanne has reminded the employees about our sick leave policy and notification. I've reached out to her to discuss creating a policy for, quote, longevity pay, as it appears employees were promised, but the majority of the board never agreed to it, and there is no written policy. Also, it's imperative that Suzanne work on a policy for giving out raises. This year has shown us that when people are promised all different things, it turns out fiscally irresponsible. To give some employees large $6,000 cost of raises, and not everyone gets that, and some people get 2% or 3% or a dollar amount, It's just irresponsible. There should be set times for people to get raises at budget time, and there should be some type of performance evaluation to justify what they're receiving. That's why I'm going to ask her to really start getting going on a policy for us to have that in place so that this doesn't occur again. For the rec center, Shay gave me a couple of updates. On September 26th, they had their first adult art class led by Nicole. Everybody enjoyed it. They made some really nice paintings. They had a full bus of seniors that had a great trip to the Wind Creek Casino. A good time was had by all. The Senior Center, Thursday is their Harvest Festival. They'll be taught line dancing and enjoy a full luncheon. Sign-ups for the senior holiday party begin on November 1st, and the party is December 15th. October 15th is the Fall Festival at Gearing Park from 12 to 3, free with a donation to the food pantry, hay rides, pumpkin patch, face painting. Every year the kids enjoy it, and it's a really great event. Winter Hoops registration has begun, and they're still working regarding the stabilization grant. They have 155 currently registered for Session 1. This is an increase from last year's registration, which is averaged the grant that we were able to get. Really, the grant is just amazing. And again, thank you to Warren for doing that. The Planning Board, Mr. Cantor will come to the next meeting to discuss the topic of special permit approvals and if they should be before the Planning Board or the Town Board.
You want that as a presentation, or how you want that?
As a discussion, he said he would come and speak. So it's a discussion if he wants to just speak during the discussion, because I wanted us to discuss it after he gave his opinion about it.
Okay. Greg,
I had already created it as a presentation item, but I can...
All right, leave it as a presentation then.
Okay.
Just leave it.
Can we just discuss it after he did?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, former council member Kenya Gatson and I attended the Town of Fishkill PBA fundraiser at the Rec Center last Thursday night. This year, they had the Joey Thomas Show Band, which was excellent and was loved by the residents listening, who also enjoyed dancing along to the music. I attended the Dunkin' Donuts ribbon cutting ceremony in the Village of Fishkill with the Supervisor and Councilmember Rye. They have rebranded their name to Dunkin' and have upgraded the inside of the business, and thank you to the owners for inviting us. I met with Carmine. He can discuss it about the fence contractor. I would have gone to the Boy Scout store opening, but I wasn't advised of it. And thank you to Carmine also for negotiating a better deal for the cost of paying for cleaning services. I'm not sure if that's mentioned anywhere, but again, his negotiating skills were put to good use, and I thank him for when he makes those efforts. Thank you.
Carmine.
Good evening. I'll be short. We ordered all the equipment for our Century Park at Doug Phillips. It'll be delivered hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Also at Doug Phillips and Shepherd, we've picked a fence vendor. We're going to be upgrading the fences at our ball fields. And our highway guys have started doing the ball fields. We have water issues on them, so they're going to dig a trench that has laterals to actually alleviate some of the water. That's all I have to report right now.
Follow up with the Little League, tell them about the T-ball, the fence, the drainage.
Just to repeat.
He's right here.
Once the water gets stuck.
Happy?
Huh?
Happy?
Am I happy?
Yes. When it gets, okay. Fair enough. Thank you. All right. Okay, now we're on to discussions. We put the one discussion for Louise about the appeal. Louise, go. What's your item?
I just want to thank the board, all of the board, for actually voting to give me the opportunity to speak about this, because if you didn't, I wouldn't have the chance to speak for myself and for the public, so thank you. To start with some facts, it was not illegally rejected, and it wasn't involved with politics. It was voted against it because it was the right thing to do. In my opinion, we, the town board elected officials, should not be forced to accept deficient infrastructure that is not in the best interest of the public health, safety, and welfare, which is of paramount importance with respect to our water systems. In my opinion, the board should appeal the decision and not vote on these resolutions tonight. We, again, should not be forced to accept deficient infrastructure in our water systems. Mr. Nugent, our prior attorney, explained it well on September 16, 2020, during our meeting. Anyone can go back and listen to it. I stand by my prior decision that the resolution was read on September 16, 2020, that it speaks for itself. Our decision was not on the ability to connect, but the whole right to connect, and how it was not in the best interest of the town. Also, in my opinion, if we can't afford not to spend money, not to spend the money to protect our water and sewer infrastructures by appealing the ruling, what should we spend our money on? We absolutely should spend it to fight. So we should hire an attorney who will fight an appeal to win, not settle. We have a valid reason to appeal, which will give us an option for a second opinion. I've heard over 30 citizens contact me in the last couple of days and ask the board to appeal this decision. I hear what they're saying. It's something that I agree with also, and I think we have 30 days to appeal it, which would bring us to October 20th. So if we decide at our next board meeting what to do, if the majority of the board is choosing not to appeal, I will abstain from voting on the resolutions if they move forward tonight, as I feel strongly that they should be appealed. But Mr. Gaba, I'd like to ask you, I brought this to put on the agenda as a motion to apply for a decision to appeal. So can I make that motion now, or what do we need to do?
Well, my understanding was your motion was to have a resolution, a motion for appeal to be
Yes.
put on. The supervisor put it under discussion, which is advisable, but I think you're also under, I'm not quite sure where, but under resolutions as well when we come to that.
Okay, I wasn't
You
sure.
can make your
Thank you
resolution.
for clarifying.
Well, it wasn't clear to me
Yeah.
either, but I could see where it would go under discussion and then separately under resolutions.
Okay.
Any comments from any other board members?
Yeah, I'm going to make one comment.
Go on.
The action taken by the prior town board was contrary to the law. The court annulled the prior town board's action and has directed this town board no choice other than to grant this petition.
Can I have one thing, Supervisor? We have an appellate court in New York State for a reason. And if we don't believe that the decision was correct, then we have a right and a duty to the people that have put us in this position to appeal it. So,
We'll get the resolutions. All right. So I'll put that for a resolution prior to the vote on the extensions. All right, next up will be the tentative budget. We got our controller here. Could you just give us a brief update on what's going on? So state law requires I present the budget, I present it to you guys make the final determinations, and then we take it from there.
Can I ask one question while we're getting together? When does this board have to adopt the budget?
It's like a week before.
November 2nd.
So you have to adopt it, oh, I'm sorry. So the public hearing has to be held no later than the Wednesday prior, the Thursday after the Election Day. So at the first meeting in November is the latest you can have your public hearing.
November 2nd.
And then it has to be adopted, I believe, by the 18th, I believe, of November. Yeah. So first I want to thank the supervisor, because I think last year when I came, I gave the budget presentation was after 11 o'clock at night, so I appreciate it's only a little bit after 9. So, yeah. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Sharon Mitchell. I have the privilege of being the controller for the town of Fishkill. I do want to thank the supervisor and the department heads. We've been working on this budget since probably the end of June. So we sat down, I had meetings with the department heads, and then we sat down with some board members and the supervisor with all of the department heads to review their requests. So just kind of an overview on the budget. So, you know, the goal was to make sure that the budget left the town in a good position going forward, utilizing fund balance responsibly and managing our costs. Although the town does have sufficient fund balances and is in a strong financial position, as you all know, Moody's upgraded our rating back in, I think, February or March to AA1. But we wanted to make sure that we maintain these, especially with these uncertain economic times moving forward. So in this budget, we were able to continue fully funding regular recurring costs such as the road paving and the police vehicle replacement program. The 2023 tax cap allowed for a 3.986% increase in the tax levy. This budget is under the tax cap for the 10th straight year, only slightly. We're about $5,000 under the cap. I continued our conservative budgeting approach for non-property tax revenues such as mortgage taxes and sales tax revenue. I think we just don't know what the economy is going to be like, so I didn't want to overstate those revenues moving forward. We were able to remove the school tax collection fee revenues from the general fund budget, and we reduced the use of the fund balance from 22 budget to the 23 budget by about $395,000. Our total budgeted appropriations over the major funds plus the special revenue fund remained fairly stable, although there's been a shift in where the costs are. Our personnel costs have increased over $700,000 from 22 to 23. It's about a 10% increase in personnel costs. Our capital expenditures in this budget that we're funding through the budget are down by about $1.2 million. We did see employee health insurance premiums increase by about 6.7%. Our retirement contribution rates went down. The Tier 6 decreased by about 2%, and the Tier 3-4 decreased almost 5%. This budget does include, as a resident had stated before, health benefits for part-time elected members. Currently, the town policy does not allow for them to participate, so there'll need to be a policy change. This budget also includes, there's only 2 new staff positions. One is a part-time legislative aide in the supervisor's office and a part-time data collector in the assessor's office. The budget includes salary increases for town board, town supervisor, judges, and the highway superintendent. The supervisor had discussed about implementing a longevity policy, which Councilwoman Daniele had mentioned, which was a $1,000 increase for full-time employees over 10 years and $500 for part-time employees who've been here over 10 years. The budget does include the increases that were given in the 22 outside the budget year, and then it also includes increases for the staff who were not part of those salary increases, which were court clerks, police assistants, the deputy clerk, and the HR director. We continued our efforts to fund portions of the multi-year capital plan with fund balance and revenues. But as I stated before, because of the economic uncertainty, we reduced the use of the fund balance, which resulted in the postponement of some of the capital investment that we had planned to do in 23, and consideration of short-term borrowing to do some of the other things that kind of need to be done. Some of those items we discussed about maybe doing short-term borrowing is the rec roof repair, cooling towers in both the police facility and the town hall facility, and some of the highway equipment that they were looking for. So we were looking at about $2.3 million in short-term borrowings. I made the recommendation only because if we needed to, we couldn't fund these fully through the budget this year without breaking the cap. We don't want to do that. But because we're managing our fund balances, so I think if we were to do short-term borrowing over the next 5 years, that we could pay it down within each of the funds. It would be spread out over the general fund, the TOV fund, the highway DA fund, and the highway TOV fund. So the items that are funded in the budget, the capital investments, is paving of 5.57 miles of town roads. There's upgrade for the town website and media equipment is included. Of course, 1 police sedan and an SUV for the police department. New building inspection software, the installation of the monuments for the Washington Sword, the installation of the sensory playground, installation of handrails at the rec center, and purchase of a tractor for the Parks Department. So we can see in the tax levies, in the general fund, the tax levy increased by 21%, about $476,000. The general TOV fund, the tax levy increased only 0.4%, about $8,800. The highway town-wide DA fund, the tax levy decreased just under 1%, about $12,000. And the highway TOV fund, the DB fund, the tax levy decreased just under 10% by about $217,000. If we're looking at overall the total budgeted appropriations in the general fund, our total appropriations decreased about 1.5%.
The TOV fund, the general TOV fund, the appropriations stayed stable. The highway DA fund, the total appropriations decreased 12.5%, and the highway TOV fund, the total appropriations decreased 2.9%. Most of these decreases in the two highway funds are really due to the reduction in the capital outlay that we included in the budget. Really, a lot of the increase in the tax levy had to do with the reduction in using the fund balance. So in 2022, in the general fund, for example, we're up to almost $1 million of appropriated fund balance. I don't want to continue that, only I'm trying to limit so that we can preserve our financial position. So if we're looking at the total cost appropriations, personnel costs continue to be the biggest driver, cost driver. They're about 55% of the overall budget. Our operating costs are about 27%. Our capital costs included in the budget are about 10%. We have 1% for contingency, and our debt payments are 7%. Our taxable assessed values, so these are the factors that drive where our tax rates are. Our taxable assessed values from 2022 to 2023, the homestead values, both the town and the village, are up about 11%. The non-homestead, the average between the town and the village is about a 5% delta. That's an increase about 5.5%. We have to look at the adjusted base proportions, which I think you're having a public hearing. So you'll see from 2022 to 2023, there's a shift in the burden being more on the homestead properties versus the non-homestead properties. That affects then also the tax rate. So we're looking right now, the way the budget is now without any changes. So we're looking at a tentative tax rate for the homestead town tax rate, of about $2.42 per thousand, which is about 11 cents per thousand increase, a 4.94% increase. The homestead village tax rate per thousand is $1.11. It's about a 0.09 cent increase. Oh, no, sorry. It's a 15-cent increase from 22. That's a 16.3% increase. The non-homestead town rate, we're looking at about $3.63 per thousand, which is a slight decrease by about a half a cent. And the non-homestead village tax rate is at $1.56, which is about a 13-cent increase, so just under 10% increase. And then if we looked at the overall tax levy allocation, 1% of the tax levy goes to the homestead village, 6% is the non-homestead village. The homestead town levy is about 64%, and the non-homestead town levy is about 29%. So I think that's where we are.
Any questions? Louise?
I have a few questions.
Go.
Sure. So you and I have spoke, so I
Yes.
just wanted to go over what we spoke about. So you had said that people are getting raises who didn't get raises from the insane, whatever you want to call it this year.
Correct.
So who were the people that you
So
that you
they were
mentioned?
the court clerks, police assistants, the deputy clerk is included in that, the HR person is included in that.
So I was just confused because I know the court clerks got an increase during the year when the senior clerk left, and the money was divided for a
Right,
specific
so the only court
amount.
clerks left there are new ones, and they weren't a benefit. They didn't,
But when we changed that, it was per hour, so to me, it's not like we should be increasing an amount because somebody else is, I'm not saying it's for
Yeah,
you, it's just, so what's the increase for the court clerk
it's
position?
almost a $6 per hour.
Right, so that's the part that drives me crazy. Not the court clerks, I mean, nothing personal with them. It's like, how can we give $6 increase to somebody, $6,000 increase to other people, nothing to a couple of people that weren't mentioned, that I'll mention in a second, 2%, 3%, 2,000. The whole thing just, and like I said, Sharon, it's not you. It just amazes me. So there were two other people, Louise Barr and also Catherine, were not included in those raises that everybody got. So I see that the assessor's office is adding something. What is he adding to his budget?
Part-time data collector.
Yeah, so I just saw that today after you and I spoke. I don't know if I agree with that, so I'm not sure if Louise could get more of an increase if that part-time data person was lessened, or is that hourly, part-time, or full-time?
It's a part-time.
Part-time, so what's that hourly?
I'm not sure, we budgeted $30,000 for a part-time.
Okay, so that's probably like close to $30 or whatever.
Yeah, a
Something
little
like
less.
that. Okay. Yeah, so that I'll look into. And so anything we say tonight, we can offer to make changes, but we can also do that at a future meeting, is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So I believe that all the changes need to be done by resolution.
That's true.
Correct.
So getting back to Louise, I'll look into that one. But Catherine, the tax collector, she didn't get a cost of living increase. And I realize that some people think that she got her money last year, but unfortunately, Catherine was a product of political shenanigans, and she didn't get it, and neither did Becky from the prior board when they should have at the end of the year. So they got it this year. So I don't think it's right that she doesn't get any increase at all. And I believe that she, $6,000 is what other people got, but you and I have spoken, and you've told me how much money we cannot go over.
Right.
So
So
my
you have $5,000 to the cap.
Exactly. So for myself, I think it's fair that we give her $3,000, which is half of that. So I'm going to ask that the board amend that to give her $3,000, since she is one of the two people remaining in the town that did not get an increase of any sort. And we will not go over any cap at all, because Sharon said we have $5,000 left on it. So do I have to make a motion to do that?
Well, the budget's just on for discussion. The resolution on the budget isn't until, that would be later on, right?
But I thought you had said, like, if we wanted to change things, to let you know,
Well,
so.
yeah.
So, I'll
Go from the tentative.
I'll make a list of all the
Okay.
changes, and then we'll, yes, so,
Okay.
yep.
So that's one of the changes that I'd like to make. Also, talking about the vehicles, I don't really understand the town's reasoning on replacing vehicles when they're not really that high mileage. So I don't know if that's a policy that is not in effect or something. So can you tell me how many vehicles we're getting? A tractor?
So, yeah, there's a Parks tractor, I think that's replacing, it's a 2006 tractor, I believe, or 2003 tractor. I can't remember exactly.
Yes, the reason for replacing
Yeah.
on a consistent basis is your trade-in value is more.
Right.
And then you have less breakdowns, so it's less mechanical work. So doing a trade-in every, 4 or 5 years makes a lot more sense than doing something every 8 to 10 years where you get no trade-in value, so you depreciate it shorter.
That's what we're doing with highway and also with police vehicles as well. It's a rotation thing.
Yeah, I just think that in this town, we don't really go by mileage either. So working from the state police, those cars got at least 125,000 miles before they're returned in. And I get the whole, getting the money when we transfer it in. I feel like we spend a lot of money on new vehicles. What's the highway getting? How many vehicles?
So there were 2 pickup trucks. So this would be all dependent on whether you decide to go to short-term borrowing, but the request was for 2 pickup trucks and 2 six-wheeled Freightliners with plow equipment.
Tell her the price of each one of those.
Those were 300, hold on, sorry.
I think they're $325 apiece,
Were they
650,000.
325? Yeah, I'm sorry. I had the band worksheet here.
Maybe Sharon could send an email to all of us to include whatever is going to be in that bond anticipation note.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So Sharon, about that, so
With amounts.
Can you explain, so we're not buying all of the very expensive things with our money now because of your
Right,
suggestion
right, yeah.
to do this, so the taxes are not going up, but we're taking out a band, as you said, is that correct?
Yes, short-term
And-
borrowing.
And then
Yeah, we
next,
have up to 5 years.
and then next year, we have to figure out where we get the money from to pay it?
Right, so, and because, so I did an estimate, I had talked to the financial advisor. So in the general fund, so I have my worksheet here, so I apologize. So for the highway, we were looking at 2 six-wheel dumps with the plow equipment. They estimated the cost would be about $620,000 for both of them. And then the 2 pickup trucks, about $104,000 for the both of them. Then we were also looking at replacing the cooling towers. They're estimating $310,000 each, one in the town hall and one in the police facility. We're looking about $700,000 for the rec roof repairs. I'm thinking it could even be more than that, but, and then about $58,900 for a walking path that they want to put in the front of the town hall, a walking path.
No, how much was it cost?
$58,900.
Okay.
So in total, we're looking at about just under $2.3 million to finance.
Were we, for the highway, I had 2 6-wheel dump trucks with plow equipment. I had 2 4x4 International dump trucks with plow.
Those are,
Did we hold off
those
on
are
that?
the next year.
And we held off for next year, okay.
Yeah.
And then the
Right.
2
Because
pickup
that would be
trucks.
4 trucks.
Then the 2 pickup trucks with plow.
And the 2 pickup trucks.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I did my analysis, we're looking at about $240,000 in debt service in the general fund, about $70,000 in the B fund, about $166,000 in the DA fund, and about $45,000 in the DB fund. Those are numbers I think that you can manage within the operating cost to pay over the next 5 years.
Okay, two other things. Can you explain how, I know you and I have also discussed this, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank Carmine, because, this year was just, it was different, because I was actually able to participate with you before you actually came here, and with Carmine's assistance, to try and get what I thought was the most important thing, which was getting rid of the fee for the tax collection. But can you explain to people how you told me you found money in the retirement fund, and also that the taxes will not be going up because of this?
Right.
So
No,
if
there's
anybody-
multiple factors
Right.
for the
So if
tax
you
rate
could just
increase, and
explain
the school tax collection fee was a revenue source in the general fund. So to remove that, you either have to, either reduce your expenses or you had to increase your tax levy. You have to find that difference somewhere else. But there were other factors. We had increased personnel costs. We were lucky that the retirement contribution cost for the town has come down some, so there's a savings there, but, our insurance premiums went up. So it was just a matter of, and managing and reducing some other of the operating costs by department to manage it. So that's not, there's multiple factors that come into play with it. And I think really the biggest part of it is reducing the amount of fund balance that we use this year.
Which were the- raises? Yeah.
So, and that's a reduction, the town board can decide that they want to increase that. I wouldn't recommend it only because you want to sustain those
Right.
levels over the next few years, because you just don't know what's going to
Right.
happen.
And the last one was, so the increase for board members to have health insurance, tell me how much it is, and it won't be, will it be more in the future, what that cost will be?
It could be more in the future. We had discussed adding that in, in order to kind of control that cost. The suggestion was made that we create a policy where the maximum amount that the town would cover would be for a single plan. So in that case, for medical and dental, we're looking at just over $12,000 each for each member.
Except that I'm not going to be participating.
Right, so this year's budget only includes coverage for 2 board members. So of course, in a year where maybe we're going to have some change of seats, without knowing, as a conservative budgeting practice, I would add that cost in.
So potentially moving forward, it's about $48,000 plus that we will have to perpetually get.
It could be,
if people
and
get
increasing
insurance.
depending on what the cost, what the premiums are.
Right, okay. And the $100,000 for the sword, where is that coming out of?
That's in the parks budget.
Okay. I appreciate all your time and effort in putting everything together.
Thank you.
Carl? You good? John?
Nope.
All right.
No, I enjoyed my meeting with you as well, and reviewing everything, and you worked extremely hard, you and your staff and just everybody, so.
Yeah, I do want to thank my staff.
Yeah, and I thank them, and I learn every time I sit with you and discuss these items, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you, Sharon.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's that. Should I just?
Are we discussing it again?
Yeah, I mean, I would put it on for the next meeting as well,
Okay,
to
put it for next
discuss,
meeting,
you know,
so if we have
and,
any resolutions, we'll do it at that time.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Just table that, Greg.
1019.
So you might want to get a, do you want to get an extra meeting?
Yeah, you get 5,000, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
We'll talk later.
yeah, that's you, Jeff.
All right,
Thank you.
all right.
Supervisor, I think
You know,
number two-
Sharon, I need you for one more thing. Can we skip to number 3 and explain the levy of unpaid water and sewer stuff to the new board members?
Supervisor, I think number 2, we closed last meeting.
Okay, we'll close it
Yeah.
next one right there.
I understand that's added onto their tax bills, so.
Yeah, it's a little more, some people are clever with how they do this, and.
We're not clever.
She catches them.
So, the town by law has the right to levy the unpaid water and sewer charges. So the process that we do here is we make the list public, give the residents an opportunity to pay the outstanding amount before we send it to the county to be placed as a lien on their property tax bill.
Got it?
We had it last meeting too, right?
Huh?
It was on last meeting as well?
Was it?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
post, we put the list out
Right.
at the
It's on the
last
town
meeting.
website right
So
now.
it's been sitting on, we're giving residents up to October 14th to make payments on the outstanding balances,
Pay their water and sewer.
Yep.
because I need to have the list to the county by November 4th.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, we closed number 2, Louise?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And you can close number 3 also? We're done with that. Discussion of reimbursement to have animal control officer. This is more toward Mr. Galba. So we have an animal control officer, and she leaves the town to service other communities. Can we charge those other communities?
If you have a contract with them, yeah.
What if they don't, if there's no contract?
Why, she shouldn't be servicing other...
That's why I'm asking you. She should not be leaving the town?
No, you're paying her to service this, unless you had some mutual aid agreement with them, she shouldn't be leaving Fishkill.
So I can order her just to stay in the town?
Yeah, it's part of her job. It's, you know, if she's off duty, she wants to work for somebody else, that's her
Well,
concern. But I mean,
other municipalities are calling her for assistance, and, governments are calling her. That's my, should we help them or not?
Seems like we need to set a protocol for that.
That's why I'm here.
Why don't we have a conversation with the animal control officer and the other municipalities involved, and we can circle back to this.
Circle back on
A
it?
little uncomfortable saying, just tell her she can't do this, or I really
Yeah.
need to know more about it. And,
Yeah.
Let's sit down, have a conversation, and then come back to the issue.
Is it only one town or city?
No, she serviced everything around us.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not that many, 5 or 6, but it's.
Wow.
It's an issue.
Yeah, it's an issue, yeah. I don't mind helping people, but sometimes they don't want to help us, so it's just got to protect us. All right, so I'll work with Mr. Gaba on that. Just close this one, Becky. Greg, put a note for, I'll talk to Mike about it, yeah. All right, I got a complaint from a woman living in the area of Briarwood off of 9D. She's got a couple kids, and she's worried about traffic, and she would like to consider us putting up stop signs on Thornwood Court and Overlook Courts. Everybody okay with that? Sure. Anybody else?
What does the highway superintendent suggest?
Well, I just want to make sure we're okay with it first, and I'll take it to the highway superintendent.
Well, I think I would want to know his opinion first before we make a decision.
Well, it's a discussion.
Discussion.
So I discussed to have our highway superintendent to go take a look at the area.
I just say
Okay.
that. Ditto.
All right, so we'll table that to the next meeting?
Thank you, Carmen.
All right, next one up is discussion of using the rec center sign for fire department volunteer recruitment. Whose is that one, John's or Brian's?
Me.
Brian, go for it.
Yeah. In our engagement with the fire districts to help them with recruitment was the concept. They're separate entities. We don't control them. We don't govern them. But we are in this together. And there's a major deficiency in the next generation of volunteer fire personnel. That's across the state. It's not just here, and could very well be across the country. But I just started asking the question with John, what can we do to help you with recruitment? And John and I have been meeting with all the fire districts for a number of meetings, and there's a huge list that they developed. But in the most immediate thing, and I think the cautionary first step that we can do is using the rec sign out front for recruitment purposes only. Now, I did call over and spoke with Jay, and I understand, Louise, you know, you're the liaison, but I just called and had a chat with them.
Yep.
And the same ordinance that was passed in 2015, I guess it was, code on use of the rec sign.
Policy.
You have a copy of that, and I think it's distributed. So it can be amended, and we can have this discussion. And I talked to Jay, like, what does it take for you guys to program it and put information on there and et cetera like that? And we don't want to overwhelm them. We don't want to have 800 things that they have to do now in addition to what they're already doing. But I do think that with Jay and us, we can have a discussion to see how we can assist and how it can be melded into their process of putting information out there. I think it fits in perfectly with the policy, which is about emergencies and everything else. And if we don't recruit more, we're going to have an emergency. We're going to have to go to a paid fire departments, and that's going to be a major tax hit. So the town, I see it as a perfectly legitimate use of the sign to help them in some way. John, what do you think?
No, ditto. That's seems to be their top priority at the moment is recruitment. So that's what we're here to discuss.
Have they given you an indication how many people they've recruited in the last month or year? Do you have any numbers like that?
Very few. I mean, there's been application. I'm not going to speak for them, let them speak and email and give me the exact data, but we've evidently, there have been some applications, but nothing that's really moved forward, unfortunately.
Because we've been trying to help them in the last year or so. I just want to see if there's any, movement on that.
Pretty sure it's in the single digits combined.
Seriously. But it's layered. It goes into affordability, a place to live, a local job, and it goes into time consumption for training. It goes into what sort of tax benefit do they get for being a volunteer fireman. It's really a pittance, that's afforded from the state. So the list of issues are very, very lengthy. We can't tackle those. We can help them maybe, send them up to the county and on to the state at appropriate times when we get those things really put together. But the basic thing that we can do at least now is to use the sign.
Brian, what's that consist of? Like, I understand the need for volunteers. What if EMT wanted to do the same thing? What if the Army said, hey, we need soldiers? What if they wanted to do it? What I'm worried about is the time and effort for our staff to do that. Just a quick thought, which I think is important recruitment, but just think if you have one group wanting to use it, what stops another important group, just as important, by asking for the same thing?
Well, that's good. The reason why the policy was put in place to begin with is because that's what was going on. You had people actually going to the extent, and Louise, correct me if I'm incorrect, but they were putting up people's birthday announcements, and yard sales. They had like crazy list of stuff coming from people all over the place, and they finally had to shut that down and do the policy. So we have a policy in place, and it limits it and it restricts it. A little addition to our fire districts that's very important. I don't think that that's unreasonable.
Am I up, Supervisor?
Hold on a second. Go on, Louise.
Thank you. Okay, I've made a list of reasons why this is not a good idea. Number one, the policy was created because of people wanting to use it for other purposes than it was intended, as Councilmember Rye wants to. Number two, it's a rec center sign, and it's pretty much as simple as that. It's for rec center use, not for nonprofits use, which we cannot single out one group and let them use it, as Carmen is saying, and not others. If you read the policy, it actually says usage of the sign is not available to outside groups, organizations, or businesses, including but not limited to nonprofit organizations, for-profit business, political groups, candidates, et cetera, et cetera. So if you make an exception for the volunteer firemen, I'm sure Ann will want to post when she's doing spay neutering next, and somebody else will want to post whatever. And I believe in the past, they did have some type of fireman things, and it was a problem for the employees, because if it's not a rec center thing that's going on, they have to field calls about things that are not in that building. Number 3, if it was allowed, it would create more work for rec center employees who would have to field the calls, whatever was posted on the sign, as they have in the past. I believe it may also be gifting use of town property, which is not permitted. I asked Sharon to forward us some opinions of the state comptroller, which I believe she did, that I forwarded to everybody. Number 4, the Roundabout Fire District has a sign. If the other 3 fire districts want to buy a sign like that, they can, or they can post very large signs, like the oversized political signs we see around our town, that can advertise for their recruitment, meetings, pancakes, breakfasts, or whatever they choose. If you want to use it for recruiting, then what's next? Advertising of their meetings, votings, minutes. It would just start, a downward spiral of letting them use it for other things. If you're from Dutchess Junction, then people might think that the fire department is here when it's down there. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't help them in recruiting, but I definitely don't think that allowing them and having to change this policy is the solution. Recruiting can be done in other ways: social media, open house nights, inform the public of the reasons why somebody would want to be a volunteer fireman or woman, the retirement point system for starters, the fact that you can be as young as 18 to join or 16 to start learning about the firehouse, invite them to see what they actually do, what the trucks look like. There's other options besides using the rec center sign. And I feel if we vote to change this policy, it appears that you believe we should have no policies at all unless it suits your needs. After the fire department, it will be the Boy Scouts, the political groups. Where do we stop? If you don't stop, we shouldn't even start. So it's a big no for me.
Any follow-up?
I believe so. Well, first of all, the policy was adopted by a previous town board. So a town board can amend that policy. That's number one.
I'm well aware of that.
And so therefore, you quote the policy as if it's written in stone, and it's not. It can be amended. That's number one. Number 2, who is going to put up their political signs, anything? No one's going to do that. And this is the conversation that I had with Jay, is it would be very important to have them in helping to design this policy so they're not overwhelmed, so they're not, and one of the things that we discussed was not putting up things from the fire districts that would warrant somebody who's passing by to make a call and inquire on more details. That's a very, very important thing that we don't do. But as far as that, fire districts getting their own signs, that's an expense, that's everything else. This is on a busy avenue. It is a small step that from my conversations with Jay, seems that we could easily do, and this would not be anything that's overwhelming. And it's a whole thing that could be scheduled. Maybe there's a very limited time. The whole thing could just be worked out so that it's not overwhelmed, but we're just giving them a hand. So.
Okay, so I spoke to Jay originally, because like I said, I am the liaison, and then you spoke to him after that, which is not unusual. But of course he's going to do anything we tell him to do, because he's a department head who wants to do whatever the town board tells him to do. But I don't think that he thinks it's a good idea, because he has dealt with this in the past and recalls what issues have come out of it. So again, just because you put join the Dutchess Junction Fire Department on the rec center sign, I don't see people wanting to join the Dutchess Junction Fire Department. They're not even going to know where it is. The sign should be in front of the firehouses in the districts where the fire departments are. And again, I'm a policy person. If we have a policy, it shouldn't be changed for this. We should actually follow the policy and help the fire department think of other options for recruiting.
Mr. Gaba, if we change the policy, can we just say what we have right here to allow fire department recruiting on that sign?
Yeah, exactly. If the board can change this policy by resolution, you could change it for a one-off, make an exception for just this year, you could make it for permanently, you could do whatever you want.
So if somebody, we just put the volunteer firemen on here, and like she mentioned, these other organizations, they don't have a claim in court to say we let them on?
It's your sign. There are all sorts of considerations that go into it, such as wear and tear, the amount that you want to use it out. There may be contravening policy considerations for whatever reason you want to bolster the firemen in this instance. I mean, Louise has laid out a whole bunch of policy considerations as to why you might not want to do this. There are also policy considerations as to why you might want to. So I don't think anybody's going to be able to take you to court and say, can you let them but not us. It's not a First Amendment issue.
Can you look at this town of Fishkill electronic sign policy and add something to allow us to let volunteer firemen use a sign for recruiting only?
Well, forever and ever, or for 1 year, or what?
We can change it if we don't.
Let's do it for the year 2023.
No, if we do, we could always amend it to take it out.
Yeah. Now, as far as the volunteer firemen, are they part of a district, or is this a company?
Nope, not the district where the rec center sign is.
So this is not the district?
No, it is not. There's four fire districts in our town, and this is not in the district.
Well, you'd have to do it by contract, as opposed to that, and there'd have to be some consideration back to you in regard to using the sign.
So they would have to give us something back?
They'd have to give you something back.
Well, that's why we discuss.
All right.
You know?
Let's
And
close it
the
out.
consideration can be any amount.
Well, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want it to be just nominal consideration. You'd have to be able to say with a straight face, they're advertising something that assists the town. They're holding an event that the town is interested in for promoting tourism or the rec department or whatever it is. Or it could be cash, could be in kind, could be almost anything, but you don't want it to be $1 or 10 cents or something. That just
doesn't
You
look
don't
good.
want to make this complicated.
So the one,
Then with recruitment.
so the one this district
Go
is.
back to the fire districts and lay this out.
Yeah,
I stand
so-
corrected, there's 5 fire districts in our
Well,
town.
there's
Thank you, Fred.
4 fire districts and 1 protection company. The Slater Chemical is the fire district here. Can we allow just to use them, the use of the sign? Or
Yes,
is that also in
but
kind?
the district is a municipal corporation. There's no prohibition on gift of public funds when you have one municipality, municipal corporation entering into a mutual assistance agreement with another one. And so you could, if you were to arrange an agreement with the fire district, loan them the sign.
But the other one, you can't do it.
If it's not a municipal corporation, then you run into the prohibition on gift of public funds, and you have a problem with that. You have to do it by a contract, and it have to be a legitimate contract.
I think we just do it for all 4. Let's see what we can work out. We'll have more discussions with them, come back.
All right, so what do you want to table?
Make it very simple.
What do you want to table to Brian?
Why do we have policies? Why don't we just do whatever we want, really?
Oh, except,
Pick a day, pick a.
I'm gonna resist that.
yeah, let's table it.
December 7th.
Why are we tabling it? What was the
Table
outcome that Mr.
December
Gaba said? Is that a gift, Mr. Gaba, if they use it and they're not in the fire district?
If it's not a fire district, you have the prohibition on gift of public funds you run into. It's just a fire company, for example, then you can't just give them things. You
Right.
have to have a contract for fair consideration, as determined by this board, for allowing them to use the sign.
So roundabout covers the town hall.
Yes, the
So
rec
roundabout,
center
not Slater
sign.
Chemical?
Yes, roundabout.
Roundabout has their own sign.
Roundabout covers.
Roundabout has their own sign.
So it makes no sense.
Yeah, but the rec center is the rec center sign.
All right, see what the fire department might just forget it. So.
Well, we'll talk, you know.
Roundabout covers.
So we're roundabout, so they have a sign already.
What about Rumba? What do you think?
They have a sign.
Well, I know they have a sign, but this is
And they want
a
another sign.
lot of traffic
Oh, my
right here for all
Okay.
of them.
December 7th, Greg.
Yeah, we've got that.
All right. All right. Number 7 is discussion and request a water line connection to 1769 Route NY 52. So this is a good project, guys. This is the old M&T Bank by the East Fishkill line in Fishkill. And about 6-8 months ago, developer came in and wanted to put a a storage facility. I told him that was not a great idea. And then he did a zoning change, and he came back, and it's going to be a dental facility where they make teeth. It's going to start with about 100 jobs, good, all type of level jobs. So we're going to create 100 jobs in this building here. So we got 100 jobs coming in here, and I think we should be able to support them with some water, if we can do it.
I think it's great.
Good? Everybody good with this?
Yep.
Do I have to do a resolution on this?
This is approval of outside user agreement, so yes, there'd have to be a resolution.
Okay.
For the next meeting?
For the next meeting?
For the next meeting?
So table this to 10:19.
Table it and with a resolution to approve it?
I'll put that on for Mike's to-do list.
Yeah. So we could have had maybe 2 or 3 jobs there, now we're going to have over 100. A really good one. Next up is a study of the Beacon Fishkill Hopewell Rail Trail. So that abandoned track by Wendy's. They want to run a trail from the Hudson River through Beacon, through the village, up to Hopewell. And it's just a study to get the county to pay for it. I think it's worth doing. Any questions?
There's money, in reading that, it's money that would go towards doing this study.
Yeah.
So there's no problem here. I mean, should
Supervisor?
do it.
Yeah, you're looking, this trail will probably go from, connect the Hudson Fjord Trail, the Dutchess Trail, into the Empire Trail. So it'll be pretty extensive.
So Supervisor, I have questions about the actual, the resolution itself. I think it was very specific, and if we're going to work to complete a feasibility study, and those are expensive, who's going to pay for that? The funds in the paragraph before referred to transportation analysis, which is different. The plan identifies responsible agencies in needing funding.
This isn't done.
The resolve that says...
Doesn't matter?
Sorry, endorsing.
The resolve that says we fully endorse and supports the intent to complete the trail plan and will actively participate in the planning process. How can we fully endorse something that we haven't even looked into yet?
Which paragraph are you looking into?
I can pull them up. You want me to pull them up?
We'll just amend that resolution and
Well,
take
and
those
then
out.
also, it says like, and authorize the supervisor to authorize documents relating to funding through the Unified Planning Work Program. Again, too many unknown costs for myself. I'm not against it, but I feel like we need a clause in there to say, if in the end we feel this isn't right for the town, that we can get out of whatever this is.
So Gabby, can you look at it real quick?
Yeah, sure, but this is just for funding. This doesn't obligate you to do it.
Right.
Well, it sounds like that in some of the paragraphs. Actually, the one paragraph said, the resolution that says we fully endorse and supports the intent to complete the trail plan, so, and will actively participate in the planning process. So I'm just saying, like, how do we say before we even looked at it that we're fully endorsing and supporting it?
Well, all right, if you want to just take out the town of, everything after the town of Fishkill, take out fully endorses and supports.
Where's that at, Steve?
The
That
first.
still doesn't imply a commitment. I mean,
Yes, it
Well,
does.
I see your point as
absolutely
far as
does.
the last.
Show me which paragraph.
But it could be read that
Just
way.
do paragraphs on page.
Page 127, now therefore, right after the last whereas. Or you may not, it's the last page of this resolution.
That the town of Fishkill fully endorses and supports, that one?
Yes,
Scratch
take
that
out
one.
fully endorses and supports the DCTC's intent to complete a Beacon Hopewell rail trail. Just leave it at, will actively participate in the planning process.
All right, so what should I scratch on that?
Take out everything from fully endorses to rail trail plan and. So then it'll just read that the town of Fishkill will actively participate in the planning process.
Town of Fishkill.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, my concern, I mean, like I said, it could be a good thing, but we have a lot of businesses along there and people who live in houses right along there. So, in the end, it's whatever's best for the business and residents.
All right, so now it would be now therefore to be resolved that the town of Fishkill will actively participate in the planning process? Is that fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll amend that when we get to it.
Thank you.
For the resolution. Okay, privilege of the floor for agenda items, so anybody can speak about agenda items only.
Teresa Kraft, I just want, on this topic that you're talking about, in conversation of a study and review with Dutchess County, just remember that many, like me, are not 100% in favor of this plan. As one of your people just mentioned, it goes past at people's houses and all of that. I'm not opposed to the Beacon rail line as a multiple-use trail. However, I believe it should remain both a light rail with a pedestrian trail alongside, if designed correctly. I don't think the east-west rail corridor should be removed from the equation of the transportation industry. A light rail bringing pedestrians from the river to the mountainside and into Fishkill could be a major draw. Every town has a bike rail trail, but this could be extra special, like the Beacon Incline Railway in its heyday. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go on.
You know, the comprehensive plan, it's one of our goals is to get better transportation, get things around, and it's one of our goals to bring that in front of you, and we'll be discussing that with you at, I guess, the next board meeting.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to say, I'm sort of against the firehouse sign going there, because what are you going to have? Right now, we're complaining that people can't see, you know, and we have 5 firehouses. So if you say, come volunteer, who are they going to call?
Yeah, this has got to be discussed, and it's on the table for discussion.
Yeah, I was just,
And
I was just.
It's 4,
just
by
as a-
the way, so.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's good, these are valid points, there's no doubt about it, but whatever we can do, I think the sign's fine.
Maybe some Mr. Mayor join
You
the
may
local-
think that.
Local fire department.
We'll see, I mean, it depends upon what info is typed up there, what makes sense, you know.
Anybody else? Russ?
Russ O'Malley, 142 Old Route 9. This is just for display, just purposes. Suggestion. This should be the sign size for public hearings. It's a line of sight when people are in their car. And the ground is, the existing signs now are on the ground, they blend right into the ground, color-wise. Lettering, and lettering should be, this is just would be larger, but this is just very visible. It's very visible, and in fact, you do 2-sided signs, which could be an option, where properties need 2 signs at one end of each property. You can see it coming and going. This is a good letter.
Yeah, put that bag back over there.
It's not a political. This is just something
No.
at home.
Can Ozzy keep that sign?
No.
What?
Can Ozzy keep that sign?
Put the bag back over it, Russ, and sit down. No, thanks.
This is the only person that did anything for my property.
He helped you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he
Explain
did.
what Mr. Lawler did for you. Explain what he did for you.
What do you do for me?
Hey, Senator Lawler. what
Right
did he do?
from the very beginning, after learning about they were doing work on the company that was involved, was doing work on my residential property, he got a stop work order. And then he sent multiple letters to the planning board and the town board, previous town board, how that project was the wrong project, should be in an industrial zone, and it was the wrong project to be near residents' homes. And he sent letters, which I just didn't go anywhere, but he actually was very concerned, and he still is. You know, so thank
I'm
you
happy to
very
hear
much.
that.
Yeah, thank you
Sincerely.
very much.
Thank you, Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Anybody else? Kenya?
So I just want to rectify the record. The supervisor did answer me when I sent my email when I was treated poorly at the planning board meeting by the attorney. So I just want to acknowledge that because I want to make sure that he gets the credit for just trying to do the right thing, whether he likes me or not. I also want to say that my name is Kenya. It's Kenya, and my last name is Gadsden, Gadsden. So when people keep referencing to me, put some respect on my name and spell it right. Thank you. I want to continue to stand firm on my decision related to the matter on the agenda, 8116. I was a board member who rendered my vote, and I stand with it. The current board members may use the easy exit and say they must vote as instructed by the judge, like Mr. Foreman just read to us. And they even go as far as to use the language of pursuant to court order. Let the record reflect that they can and should appeal the current decision and get a second opinion. If you look at the meeting dated 9/16/20, where the very competent attorney that served while I was on the board, it will show you that this matter was not and is not personal, and what is factual is that my decision was based upon the criteria in which we were obligated to use in our decision. Based on the response to the lawsuit given by the current town board, it seems like a position to defend the decision the previous board made was not done. They are not vested in learning the full picture, only interested in moving on. This issue has had 3 lawyers, I believe, and I think a 4th is needed and strongly suggested. GLD3's notice of entry puts us on a 30-day clock. That clock says that we must act on appeal or move on. The issue of infrastructure on an unknown is not the way to go. The town will be responsible, from my understanding, once the extension of the district is granted. Once again, those fiscally responsible people who hold office now in the town of Fishkill appear to be willing to vote to put the burden on the taxpayers, which is something I did not agree with, and so I stand firm on my vote. What I have read in the papers tells me that this board does not plan on appealing, and so I hope the voters remember this day. Thank you for your time.
All right.
Where does my,
What?
no, I'm just wondering where my resolution goes.
Okay. All right, so we're now we're going to resolutions. There's no consent. All
we take-
resolutions. What?
Can we take 5?
Why?
I had a concern about a resolution. I wanted to speak about it with the town attorney before the board votes. There's
You wanna go?
language that I feel could be problematic.
And what? Which item?
The eliminating the school tax collection fee.
You want to take?
I wasn't sure who it was who prepared that, and the word eliminate was
Okay.
concerning to me. I'm not sure if there's a legal implication
Okay.
there since
All right, Greg.
it's...
I'll deal with it when we get to it.
Okay.
All right, the first up would be the resolution for the study of the Beacon Rail Trail through Fishkill to Hopewell. Let me see where we're at here, back up here. I need to amend, I make a motion to amend it to say, now therefore be resolved that the town of Fishkill will actively participate in the planning. That's the only change I want to make. I present that as motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Can I, is it okay just wearing the resolves? You guys okay with just the resolve?
Where's mine going?
Yours is going, I told you, I'll get to you.
No, I mean before or after?
You're going to be after the school tax.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Now therefore be resolved that the town of Fishkill will actively participate in the planning of the trail. Be it further resolved that the town of Fishkill will assist the DCTC as requested by dedicating staff hours, provide data, engaging the public, and providing all non-monetary assistance to complete the Beacon Hopewell Rail Trail plan. And be it further resolved, the supervisor of the town of Fishkill hereby authorized to apply for and execute any documents relating to DCTC funding of this transportation planning project through its Unified Planning Work Program. I present that as motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You guys asked me to do something about the school tax. You want to table it? What do you want to do?
Why? What's wrong with it?
I'm just asking.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this till October 19th.
Why would we table it?
I'm going to tell you why. Because we are, according to the controller, right up against the tax cap. Okay, we have $100,000 of revenue that's coming in because of this tax fee, school tax collection fee. And we're talking about borrowing on a bond anticipation note in the next 3 months, 6 months. I don't know when that's going to come in front of us. And to be honest with you, I'm just not sure we're ready to throw away $100,000.
Are we talking about this as a discussion now? Because last week you were all for it. It was in the e-gov, we were going to do it. It's on for a resolution. And I
Okay,
think
so
if you're
we're
concerned
discussing
about
it.
money, you don't
Okay.
need insurance. We can start with that.
Who has
We can
the floor?
take out numerous other
Hold on a
things
second.
in the
Louise,
budget.
Let him finish.
But
Let him finish.
no,
Let him
I
finish.
mean,
Let him finish.
I don't know, because is this a discussion, or is this you just now saying you want something
Let him finish. Let him
removed?
finish. You asked him a question. He's going to answer it.
So there are a couple ways we can tackle this. One is go forward and just eliminate the school tax collection fee. Two, we can compromise and come up with a different number that we collect. You're talking about going from 100,000 to zero.
That's right. That's
Okay?
exactly right.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Just a couple months ago, we had our snowplow contract with the county. Carmine and I made about 15 phone calls to get another $2,400 in funding, and we thought we did pretty good by that. So here we are, we're throwing away money here, and we're begging for money over here. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, so what doesn't make a lot of sense to me is how much was it, Sharon? $700,000? All of the raises that we gave this year, or I should say, you all gave this year when it wasn't budget time. So if you want to talk about being fiscally irresponsible, look in the mirrors. This has nothing to do with $100,000. So there's other things that can be cut. You already agreed to it, you agreed to it, everybody agreed to it. So if you want to go back on your word now, let the public know what you really like. But it should be a zero. It should have never been anything to begin with. The .4 is horrendous. Some people are paying $5,000 to process their taxes. Some people are paying $18.
And you know what, Wappinger School District can go ahead and collect their own taxes.
Oh my God, here we go with
Why not?
the same thing.
The
You know
superintendent
what?
was just here.
You can get a job somewhere else and get health insurance then, you know? So let's break it on down, because it's ridiculous, and now all of a sudden you're gonna pull this out and say that you don't want the people to have a zero. They should have never been charged it in the beginning, and your true colors are coming out. So, yeah.
Hold on, let's just put it to a vote. I don't even know why we're wasting our time.
All right, put it to a vote. Greg, what did you say was wrong with this resolution?
I just wanted clarification from the town attorney whether the language saying eliminating the school tax collection fee was appropriate, or if the language should say that the town sets the school tax collection fee rate at $0 because it is a local law which enables the town to collect that fee.
It's like on the fee schedule.
It's not a local law, it's a fee schedule.
Be amended by resolution. I don't
Yes.
think we need a local law on that.
Yes.
Well, you're
Yes.
concerned that we're...
I'm concerned
Is
that
there a
the word
local law?
eliminating implies that we're changing the town code when we're not. That's what I was concerned about.
No. No. Sharon, no.
That's, I just want a clarification. I'm not
Sharon, you
suggesting
go
we
with
change
this
it. I wanted
resolution?
your opinion.
Right, it's a resolution.
Local law.
Fee schedule, right? No?
Resolution.
Yeah, New York State allows it. It's not a local law that we're being repealed. Yeah. No, look, we could say that we're setting it at zero. You know, eliminating is going to come out in the same. If you're more comfortable with setting it at zero, I'm fine with that.
If you're fine with eliminating, I'm fine.
with
I was
eliminating.
just,
Just leave it the way it
never
is?
mind.
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
All right, so I make a motion, we table this to October 19th.
I make a motion, we vote right now, like it is on the resolution.
There's one at a time.
Is there a second to my motion?
Inasmuch as I want to zero it out, I want to hear at a later time what you want to discuss about this, so I'm going to say yes, I'll second it.
Jesus.
Okay.
No, we're not done. We're not done yet. We're not done yet, not done
Motion
yet.
second to table. Now there should be a vote on the motion to table.
This is just...
Okay, vote on the motion to table
This
it.
is just a motion to table it to the next meeting.
Just the motion to table.
That's all we're doing. All right. I'll support that.
Are you serious,
Just to the next
Supervisor?
meeting.
Oh, my goodness.
Just to the next
Wow.
meeting.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Holy
Just,
mackerel.
hold on one second, please.
This is budget season. Let this their first budget. Let them check it out.
Oh, we can check it out. Yeah, I can eliminate.
Sorry. Councilmember Daniele?
Nay.
Councilmember Istvan?
No.
Supervisor Albra?
Yes.
That's pathetic.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
This is only tabling it to the next meeting,
There was no reason to do
That's
that.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
table to the 1019.
That's it.
1019.
That's it. Just tabling it.
Ridiculous.
Just tabling it. Okay, now, the appeal thing is now. So how do we word that, Mr. Galvo?
Motion to appeal the order of the Supreme Court, the Article 78 proceeding brought by GLD3, challenging the town board resolutions regarding the proposed extension of the Blodgett Water and Sewer District.
So you present that in a motion? and you
I
need a second.
present that as a motion. Are you seconding it?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Wait, how can you second?
I thought you were abstaining.
Hold on, time out.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Either you're voting or not.
How does that work, Steve?
Well, we've been over this, Ozzy.
I know.
So, I
Explain it
mean,
again.
you know, your position was that you were not conflicted, you were doing it just to avoid a appearance of impropriety. If you've changed your mind, and want to look at this as just a procedural motion and not a substantive determination, then I would say you're free to second the motion as far as that goes. If you want to stand by your earlier, you're staying out of it altogether, then you're free to do
What?
that
You
as well.
can't hear?
Okay.
I don't know if they could.
So I can second it and just,
If that's the determination you've made, that it's just a procedural matter, you're not weighing in substantively on the case,
Okay,
then
I'll second
yes, I would say you're not legally prohibited for a second.
I'm abstaining.
You're not voting?
I'm going to abstain.
Yeah, go
That makes
ahead,
no
vote.
sense.
I know.
Okay, no,
That makes no sense.
where are we?
He seconded it, and now we're voting.
Oh, and now we're going to vote on it?
Yep.
Okay,
A roll call vote.
Okay.
okay.
Councilmember Daniele,
Aye.
Councilmember Istvan,
No.
Supervisor Albra,
Abstain?
Councilmember Foreman,
No.
Councilmember Rye.
No.
Easy, guys.
That's not right.
Easy, guys. We,
15 years.
I know.
Talk about promoting indigenous history, and then I am shocked.
All right. Number 3 is the resolution. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
No.
I can't do them all at the same time. I have to split these, right?
I'm afraid you do.
All 4?
You have to do 4, one after another. First, the
Okay.
resolution on the sewer district, then the order on the sewer district, and the resolution on the water district, then the order on
Alright.
the water district.
So
So you
okay,
can
just to do
waive the reading on the resolutions if you can have a motion and a second, and then you can just pick up at the now therefore be a resolved.
Oh, I'd like for reading of the motions because there's some important information in here that the people need to understand.
Okay. Then, Brian, you can read them. I'm going to recuse myself. I would have read just the resolution. He wants to read the whole thing. You're going to have to read the whole thing now.
He can read it. Have Brian read it.
You recuse yourself?
Yes, I was going to vote on it.
Oh, my goodness.
So you start on this one. So if you leaned it, I started there and did it. You want to read the whole thing?
Well, let's see what we're talking about.
You asked to read the whole thing, so you have to start at the beginning. That's all I read.
Hold on 1 second, hold on 1 second. So, in other words, you would start right here and read through these pieces?
If you get him to make the motion to waive the reading.
Waive the reading, you don't have to.
Okay.
Okay.
If you want to read everything, you read everything.
Hold on 1 second, because I think that's what we're talking about here. No, this is good.
Okay.
Motion to waive.
Motion to
You need a
waive?
second. You need a second?
Second.
And a vote.
Second to waive? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
You need a second. You make a motion to waive it, you need a
Motion to
second, then
waive.
you vote on it.
What? What are we doing?
You need a vote.
Gentlemen,
There's a, go ahead.
motion to waive was made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Vote on waiving the reading of the first resolution.
I thought he wanted to read the resolution.
No, he's starting at a section that I want read, so that's fine. I was confused there
We're
for a moment.
just going to read the
Sorry.
determination, now, therefore, et cetera, just like you do on all the other resolutions.
Right.
But we're waiving.
So, Councilmember Daniele,
Nay, read the whole thing.
Councilmember Istvan,
I'd like to read the whole thing.
So no, nay.
Supervisor Albra.
No, he's recused.
Okay. Councilmember Foreman,
Let's read.
Councilmember Rye.
I guess we're reading.
Start with the first whereas.
All right, first, a bit of housekeeping. Since the supervisor has recused himself, we now have to have someone to run the meeting, which means one of you has to volunteer or be nominated to run the meeting just until the supervisor returns. And then you have to have a majority of the board members here, that's 3, vote to have that person run the meeting, i.e. in this instance, read these resolutions, call for the votes.
No, I'm not okay with that yet. You guys can do it.
I volunteer to run the meeting.
Okay, can you get a motion to that effect?
Motion for John to run the meeting.
Second?
Second.
Nay.
Okay, vote.
All in
Council-
favor, aye?
You want to do a unanimous voice vote?
Oh, I'm a nay, so, yeah.
All right.
Aye.
3-1.
John, you said aye?
Aye.
All right, take it away.
Starting right with the first whereas.
Right with the first whereas.
Whereas GLD3 LLP and Snook 9 Realty, Inc. filed with the Town of Fishkill a petition dated October 28th, 2019, together with a map, plan, and report for approval of the Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 And whereas, under the said petition, map, plan, and report, the lands within the district extension consisted of the GB zone portions of tax parcel 625500180430, consisting of approximately 7.5 acres, and all of tax parcel 5255001564662, consisting of approximately 1.24 acres, upon which an existing gas station, convenience store, speedway has been constructed. And whereas, under the said petition, map, plan, and report, the petitioners are responsible for the construction of all wastewater infrastructure within the proposed district extension, including, without limitation, a sanitary sewer pump station, sewer mains, manholes, and grease traps, as detailed in the map, plan, and report prepared by Chazen Engineering. And whereas no offer of dedication of the sewer lines constructed or to be constructed in the district extension has been provided or proposed, as a result of which petitioners shall continue to own, operate, maintain, and repair the aforesaid wastewater infrastructure in the district extension at their own expense. And whereas on November 20th, 2019, the town board accepted the petition and the proposed map, plan, and report for purposes of public hearing review and adopted an order setting a public hearing for December 4th, 2019, and directing the town clerk to publish and post a notice for public hearing on the proposed extension in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. And whereas the town board opened a public hearing on the proposed district extension on December 4th, 2019, at which time all persons wishing to speak were heard. And whereas the town board continued to the public hearing for December 18th, 2019, which public hearing did not continue due to lack of a town board quorum. And whereas on March 4th, 2020, the town board adopted an order to continue the public hearing on the district extension for April 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter as could be heard, and directing the town clerk to publish and post a notice for public hearing on the proposed extension in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. And whereas such public hearing was duly noticed and posted in accordance with applicable provisions of law, whereas the public hearing on the district extension was continued on April 1st, 2020, at which time all persons wishing to speak were heard, and the public hearing was continued to May 27th, 2020. And whereas the public hearing on the district extension was continued on May 27th, 2020, at which time all persons wishing to speak were heard, and the public hearing was closed for oral comment and left open for written comments through June 6, 2020. And whereas the public hearing closed on June 6, 2020, and all written comments received were provided by the town clerk to legal counsel for the petitioners to allow petitioners an opportunity to respond to such comments. And whereas in addition to public responses, legal counsel for petitioners submitted a written response and attachments to the comments received during the public hearing process by letter dated June 26, 2020. And whereas on September 16, 2020, having reviewed all relevant materials received and presented in connection with the proposed district extension, the town board adopted a resolution denying the petition based upon inter alia, a finding that the existing sewer main, which the petitioners proposed to use in a district extension, was uncertified and lacked approval from the Dutchess County Department of Health, and therefore were a lot of unknowns regarding the lines within the district extension. And whereas on January 15, 2021, the petitioners commenced a lawsuit in New York State Supreme Court, Dutchess County, seeking an order annulling the said resolution of the town board and compelling the town to grant the petition for the district extension. And whereas by order dated September 19th, 2022, the New York State Supreme Court, Dutchess County, annulled the said resolution of the town board, remanded the petition for the district extension to the town board, and directed the town board to grant the petition for the district extension. And whereas, in regard to the town board's finding that the district extension should not be granted because the existing sewer main, which the petitioners propose to use in the district extension, is uncertified and lacks approval from the Dutchess County Department of Health, and because there are a lot of unknowns regarding lines in the district extension, the court's order held that the district extensions could be approved despite the lack of Dutchess County Department of Health approval, because an approval of the applications would only give petitioners the right to connect the project to the water and sewer districts, but their ultimate ability to connect the site's infrastructure to those water and sewer districts cannot occur unless it's approved by the Dutchess County Department of Health, and any technical issues regarding the use of the mains and lines are resolved. I continue with the findings?
You sure do.
Findings. The town board of the town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York, having considered the documents and related materials submitted, the testimony and evidence given at the public hearing, the aforesaid court order, and the following factors, does hereby make the following findings. Section 1, whether the petition is signed and acknowledged or proved or authenticated as required by law and is otherwise sufficient. Town Law Section 191 requires that a petition for the establishment or the extension of an improved district shall be signed by the owners of taxable real property situate in the proposed district or extension and be otherwise sufficient. The petition submitted for the establishment of the district extension has been executed by GLD3 LLC and Snook 9 Realty, Inc., who are the sole owners of the real property in the district extension. The court, as per the attached order, has determined that the petition is duly signed and acknowledged, describes the boundaries of the district extension in a manner sufficient to identify the lands included therein, and that the lack of approval from the Dutchess County Department of Health with respect to the existing sewer main and the other unknowns does not render the petition otherwise insufficient. The court's finding that the petition is signed and acknowledged as required by law and is otherwise sufficient is binding on the town board on this application. Section 2, whether all the property and property owners within the district extension are benefited thereby. The only two properties in the district extension are the lot owned by GLD3 LLC and the lot owned by Snook 9 Realty, Inc. The lot owned by Snook Realty, Inc. is currently subject to a contract with the town of Fishkill for wastewater collection and treatment as an out-of-district user. However, as per the petition, map, plan, and report submitted by the petitioners, the existing out-of-district user agreement will be extinguished upon approval of the district extension, and the Snook 9 Realty lot will thereafter receive central sanitary sewer service within the district extension once the lines are connected and in service. Accordingly, the town board further finds that all the property and all the property owners within the district extension will be benefited. Section 3, whether all the property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the district extension. The attached court order has determined that all the property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the district extension. The court's finding is binding on the town board. Section 4, whether it is in the public interest to grant the petition for the district extension. Based in pertinent part upon a finding that an approval of the district extension of applications would only give petitioners the right to connect the project to the sewer district, but their ultimate ability to connect the site's infrastructure to the sewer district cannot occur unless it is approved by the Dutchess County Department of Health. The attached court order has determined that it is in the public interest to grant the petition for the district extension. The court's finding is binding on the town board. Determination?
Yep.
Section 2, Part 2, determination. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York as follows. Section 1, upon the evidence given at the aforesaid public hearing and upon the aforesaid court order, it is hereby found and determined as follows. A, the determination in the aforesaid court order that the petition is signed and acknowledged or proved as required by law and is otherwise sufficient is binding upon the Town Board in this matter. B, provided that Snook 9 Realty, Inc. surrenders its out-of-district user agreement as is proposed, all the property and property owners within the district are benefited thereby. C, the determination in the aforesaid court order that all of the property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the district extension is binding upon the Town Board in this matter. D, the determination in the aforesaid court order that it is in the public interest to grant the petition for the district extension is binding upon the Town Board in this matter. Section 2, the Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1, as more fully described in the map, plan, and report prepared by the Chazen Companies issued October 2019, is hereby approved, subject to the provisions of sections 3, 4, 5, and 6 below. The Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 shall be bounded and described as set forth in Schedule A attached hereto and made a part hereof. Section 3, the petitioners are responsible for and shall bear all costs of the construction of wastewater infrastructure required for the Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1, including without limitation sewer mains and lines, both existing and new, a sanitary sewer pump station, manholes, and grease traps as detailed in map, plan, and report prepared by the Chazen Companies, and the petitioners shall continue to own, operate, maintain, and repair the aforesaid wastewater infrastructure required for the district extension at their own expense. Section 4. As per the finding in the aforesaid court order, the Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 has no obligation to provide central sanitary sewer service to the petitioner's properties until the petitioners have obtained approval of the mains or lines at issue from the Dutchess County Department of Health. Particularly, no mains or lines in the district extension shall be connected or otherwise put into service unless and until written approval of the mains or lines at issue from the Dutchess County Department of Health is submitted to the town. Section 5. The town has the right to inspect all mains, lines, and improvements installed or being installed within the district extension, and no main, line, or other improvement shall be connected or otherwise put into service until the town's engineering consultants have approved the technical aspects of the improvements and connections. Section 6, in petitioning for extension of the Blodgett Sewer District, Snook 9 Realty, Inc. has represented that it will surrender and terminate the out-of-district user agreement it currently holds for wastewater collection and treatment for its aforesaid lot in the district extension. Prior to receiving any service through the district extension, Snook 9 Realty, Inc. shall secure termination of the out-of-district user agreement and submit written confirmation of the same to the town. Section 7, this resolution shall be effective immediately.
Have someone present that resolution?
Can somebody make a present that resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Vote.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Daniele?
I abstain.
Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Okay, now we move on to the order.
Okay. So, the whole thing?
Yeah, this one's not that long, the whereas from the beginning.
What are we talking about?
The order. Order, final order, Blodgett District Number 1.
Yep. Do I read all the names involved in it? Wait a minute.
No.
I might have a different form than you have.
This is the document.
you have any help in reading?
No, it's all right. Okay, resolution number 8117. Whereas a petition has been presented by the town board requesting approval of the Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 as hereinafter described in the town of Fishkill, and whereas the necessary map plan and report dated October 2019, prepared by the Chazen Companies, competent engineers duly licensed by the state of New York, showing the proposed boundaries of the proposed Blodgett Sewer District Number 1, was submitted with the said petition and has heretofore been filed in the office of the town clerk of the town of Fishkill, where the same is available during regular office hours for examination by any persons interested in the subject matter thereon. And whereas the boundaries of the proposed Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 are set forth in Appendix A, annexed hereto and made a part hereof. And whereas a review of the establishment of the Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 under the State Environmental Quality Review Act has been completed, and whereas the New York State Supreme Court, Dutchess County, in a civil action under index number 2021-50197, issued an order dated September 19, 2022, directing the town board of the town of Fishkill to grant the petition for Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1. And whereas on October 5th, 2022, the town board adopted a resolution granting the petition for Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 in compliance with the said court order. Now therefore be it ordered by the town board of the town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1, Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 in the town of Fishkill, be and hereby is established in the said town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York, subject to the terms and provisions recited in the aforesaid resolution of the town board approving establishment of the said district extension. Section 2, said Blodgett Sewer District Extension Number 1 shall be bounded and described as set forth in Appendix A, attached hereto and made a part hereof. Section 3, the town clerk of the town of Fishkill is hereby authorized and directed to cause a certified copy of this order to be duly recorded in the office of the clerk of the county of Dutchess within 10 days after the adoption of this order. Section 4, town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to file a certified copy of this order in the office of the State Department of Audit and Control, Albany, New York, within 10 days after the adoption of this order. Section 5, this order shall take effect immediately.
Okay, you need someone to present that order for adoption?
Will somebody present that order for adoption?
Present the order for adoption.
Second?
Vote.
Okay. Councilmember Daniele?
I abstain.
Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Okay, so that is the sewer district. Now, the resolution for the water district you should have.
Can we go to the whereases on that?
Well, you need to have the board vote to waive the reading. The resolution's here. Very similar to the water district.
It's very similar.
Oh,
in every
it's
regard.
8118? Hold on. I got 817 and 8119. I don't have 8118.
In the binder, John, it should be resolution number 5.
All right, so am I reading?
Unless the board's willing to waive the reading, you have to read the whole thing.
Motion to waive.
Second.
Nay, read the whole thing.
Do we have to vote? Roll call vote on waiving.
Councilmember Daniele?
Nay, read the whole thing.
Councilmember Istvan?
You confused me with that vote. Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Interesting vote by Louise again. Yes, to waive.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes to waive.
Okay, then you can pick up, it's tab there, where it says now, therefore be it.
Got it. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York as follows. Section 1, upon the evidence given at the aforesaid public hearing upon the aforesaid court order, it is hereby found and determined as follows. A, The determination in the aforesaid court order that the petition is signed and acknowledged or proved as required by law and is otherwise sufficient is binding upon the town board in this matter. B, all the property and property owners within the district extension are benefited thereby. C, the determination in the aforesaid court order that all of the property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the district extension is binding upon the town board in this matter. D, the determination in the aforesaid court order that it is in the public interest to grant the petition for the district extension is binding upon the town board in this matter. Section 2, the Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1, as more fully described in the map, plan, and report prepared by the Chazen Companies issued October 2019, is hereby approved subject to the provisions of sections 3, 4, 5, and 6 below. The Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 shall be bounded and described as set forth in Schedule A, attached hereto and made a part hereof. Section 3. The petitioners are responsible for and shall bear all costs of the construction of water infrastructure required for the Blodgett Water District Number 1, Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1, including without limitation, water mains and lines, both existing and new, water meter vault meters and backflow prevention devices as detailed in the map, plan, and report prepared by Chazen Engineering, and the petitioner shall continue to own, operate, maintain, and repair the aforesaid wastewater infrastructure required for the district extension at their own expense. Section 4, as per the finding in the aforesaid court order, the Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 has no obligation to provide central water service to the petitioner's properties, and that the petitioners have obtained approval of the mains or lines at issue from the Dutchess County Department of Health. Particularly, no mains or lines in a district extension shall be connected or otherwise put into service unless and until written approval of the mains or lines at issue from the Dutchess County Department of Health is submitted to the town and as-built plans have been submitted. Section 5, the town has the right to inspect all mains, lines, and improvements installed or being installed within the district extension, and no main, line, or other improvement shall be connected or otherwise put into service until the town's engineering consultants have approved the technical aspects of the improvements and connections. Section 6, the district extension is non-contiguous.
Contiguous.
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 Contiguous. All right. Section 6, the district extension is non-contiguous to the existing Blodgett Water District or the prior extension undertaken as part of the GAP Distribution Center, and as such, the district extension will require its own direct metered connection to the Village of Fishkill Water Supply Network. Section 7, this resolution shall be effective immediately. Somebody present this as a motion? Motion? Is that what I said?
Motion to adopt.
Yeah.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Councilmember Daniele?
I abstain.
Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Now the order. Do you have that?
Yep. It should be next in the,
Court order.
No, not court order.
Do I need a motion to waive?
This is just a page and a half. You really shouldn't have a problem reading the order.
All right, resolution number 8120. Whereas a petition has been presented to the town board requesting approval of the Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1, has hereinafter described in the town of Fishkill, and whereas the necessary map, plan, and report dated October 2019, prepared by the Chazen Companies, competent engineers duly licensed by the state of New York, showing the proposed boundaries of the proposed Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1, was submitted with the said petition and has heretofore been filed in the office of the town clerk of the town of Fishkill, where the same is available during regular office hours for examination by any persons interested in the subject matter thereon. And whereas the boundaries of the proposed Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 are set forth in Appendix A, annexed hereto and made a part hereof, and whereas review of the establishment of the Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 under the State Environmental Quality Review Act has been completed, and whereas the New York State Supreme Court, Dutchess County, in a civil action under index number 2021-50197, issued an order dated September 19, 2022, directing the town board of the town of Fishkill to grant the petition for Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1. And whereas on October 5th, 2022, the town board adopted a resolution granting the petition for Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 in compliance with the said court order. Now therefore be it resolved, now therefore be it ordered by the town board of the town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1. Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 in the town of Fishkill be and hereby is established in the said town of Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York, subject to the terms and provisions recited in the aforesaid resolution of the town board approving establishment of the said district extension. Section 2, said Blodgett Water District Extension Number 1 shall be bounded and described as set forth in Appendix A, attached hereto and made a part hereof. Section 3, the town clerk of the town of Fishkill is hereby authorized and directed to cause a certified copy of this order to be duly recorded in the office of the clerk of the county of Dutchess within 10 days after the adoption of this order. Section 4, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to file a certified copy of this order in the office of the State Department of Audit and Control, Albany, New York, within 10 days after the adoption of this order. Section 5, this order shall take effect immediately.
Motion?
Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt, yeah.
Second, can we have a roll call?
Councilmember Daniele?
I abstain.
Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
You done?
Got to wait for Ozzy.
Okay. You want these back?
Yeah.
We still have consideration items. Consideration items, yes.
All right, first item for special consideration is the RFP for the building foundation. Now therefore it be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby authorize the town designee to request proposals for qualified contractors to install the foundation of engineered steel buildings kit for the town highway department, and be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby authorize the town clerk to advertise for proposals, a project called Request for Proposals, RFP 2022-07, Town of Fishkill Highway Department Engineer Prefabricated Steel Building Foundation. I'll present it as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What'd you say?
Aye.
I'm gonna do the foundation. Okay. Next up is now the resolution for the RFP Highway Department Engineer Building. Did I just read that one? Okay.
One's the building, one's the foundation.
Oh, that was the foundation. Okay, here's the
Yeah,
building.
next one's the
Building installation. Now therefore it be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby authorize town designee to request proposal for qualified contractors to install the engineer prefabricated steel building kit for the town highway department. And be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby authorize the town clerk to advertise a proposal for the project entitled Request for Proposal, RFP 2022-08, Town of Fishkill Highway Department Engineer Prefabricated Steel Building Installation. Present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Next up is resolution.
Whoa.
I apologize. Long nights, almost, okay. I present that as a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
Brian Rise, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up is to set up the public hearing for the budget. Now therefore it be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby set the public hearing on the town budget, 2023 preliminary budget on November 2nd, 2022 at 7 o'clock p.m. or soon after at Fishkill Town Hall, 807 Route 52, Fishkill, New York. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
I got one more, just to benefit units. I gotta find a resolution for that one.
That's right.
And the last one is a resolution to set the public hearing for the 2022 special district benefit units. Whereas the town assessor is preparing the proposed special district benefit unit rolls in the town of Fishkill for fiscal year 2022, and said proposed special district benefit unit rolls will be filed with the town clerk as required by town law, section 239. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby sets a public hearing in accordance with town law 239 on November 2nd, 2022 at 7 p.m. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Carmine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. New and old business, I have nothing. Carmine?
No.
Louise?
Can I go last?
Foreman, John?
No.
Brian?
Talking about new and old business.
Yeah, man.
Can I make a comment real quick on tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, this seems like the time everyone's gone. It's not a convenient time. I wish people were here. Let me just say about the vote tonight, that everybody was packed in against. I remember the people who are on this committee live around me. I heard these arguments forever and ever, and when it started, I was interested. Like, my father is buried in Arlington Cemetery, so I will continue to say thank you for service, even though we took these votes, and no one's going to deny me of that. But I was open to listening to everything, because who wouldn't be, okay? And then I actually, at that time, when this was starting years ago, I don't even know that I was even on the environmental board at the time. I even sat with Mr. Broccoli to hear his side of the story, because that's what I do. I listen to both sides. I didn't take a position. I saw the whole thing dissolving into a huge argument, and I just backed away. I think a lot of citizens in this town backed away because they saw what was going on, and it was just ugly, and it was fighting, and it was articles in the paper. Then there were lawsuits, and there was this, and there was that. So, you know, whatever is going on there was going to work itself out. Well, lo and behold, we're elected, and we're here, and we have this come before us. And we had a discussion with our council here on what, again, not taking sides. What if we appealed it? What are our chances to win? What does that look like? We had a better chance of winning on appeal to try to get back the 70 grand that the town gave the supervisor, but that still was abysmal. And we pulled the plug on that because we didn't want to waste the finances. The chances of winning this are so low. It made absolutely no sense. The going for it and voting for the appeal is to make a political point and to waste $50,000 because we're going to lose. And that's just all there is to it. I'm not even talking about the merits of the project. I'm not talking about people's claims on the historical bit of the land. That's not what I'm talking about. We have a fiduciary responsibility, and it's extremely difficult because I do know certain people here tonight that I'm going to see when I walk around my block. And I can hear the comments now. But we had to make a decision, and it was not popular with a certain element of this town. I wish the whole thing could have been resolved ages ago with everyone. I wish they could have sat down and resolved this. But the whole thing went into self-destruction. And again, the majority of us just stood back and just said, this will one day work its way out. We had to make a decision. And with certain people, it's not politically right, and they're If they're painting us a certain way, it's incorrect. It's totally incorrect, okay? That's what we had to do tonight, and that was the decision that we took for the town, and it's difficult, but we had to do it.
Louise?
Becky, if you want to read the dog thing first, before I go. You good? Okay, thanks. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please go and get your mammograms. It can save your life. It saved mine. It saved my life. I have been cancer-free for 6 years and very happy to be alive, to stand up for the rights of the citizens of our town. And you can trust when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't back away. I don't go back on my word. And the decision tonight was not political. With a good lawyer, we could have won, but others want to choose to think that that's not true. You can choose to think whatever you want. I hope you feel better.
Yeah, thank you, Louise. Thank you. You're not saying nothing?
I've said enough.
All right. Business. Next town board meeting is the 18th?
October 19th.
October 19th is the next town board meeting. Thank you for watching. There was no executive session. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Good night.
Let's skip that one, Louise.
Your business partner's still waiting to be outside.